Hello, people of Earth! It's your pal, the Orbital Outcast, Rad Gnarly, coming away with another low-key broadcast. Tonight we're starting our 6th year of action in the GWA Generation 2, and we've got some great title fights lined up in Fire Pro Wrestling World. But first I'd like to say hello to everyone on chat or checking us out on VOD. No matter where or when you happen to be in this great big old world of ours, we're happy to have you with us, and we hope the day finds you well. Alright. As I said, we have some great title fights lined up, so that means we should probably head on down to the GWA Event Center. Forgot that I disabled the fancy transition to that. But anyway, we have some January and February title matches. We're doing 2 shows a night here. We're happy to announce ahead of time, starting with our January title defenses, where you will see a guest from the now defunct Legends promotion, currently bumming around the European freelance leagues, I guess if you call it leagues. Oink. Tetsuhitsu Takaiwa will be putting that very Legends Junior Heavyweight Championship on the line against our very own Juchen Thunder Liger in what is most definitely not an attempt to appease the ego of one Juchen Thunder Liger by getting him a legendary junior title that no one else in the junior division quite measures up to competing for, certainly in his eyes. Anyway. From there, we're moving on to some tag team action. We finally got them to show up. I wouldn't be advertising it if I didn't already have the event saved where everyone showed up and everything's ready to rock and roll. As the AEW tag team titles will be on the line, El Linda Man and our very own Kenta Kobashi are going to be putting the belts on the line against the Young Bucks. Matt and Nick Jackson are here, at least once. We at least got them to show up the once, and in the main event of the January show, the first of 2 shows you're going to see today from the GWA. The GWA Junior title will be on the line, that's right. Darby Allin, having won the #1 contendership in that 4-way elimination match at Christmas Carnage in our last show 2 weeks ago, I guess that was 2 weeks ago, December 23rd. Will be getting his title shot against Ilya Dragunov, who he himself, a member of the Trios champions from the Trios tournament, Trios Tourney of Terror that we run every October. 2 out of 3 of the Trios champions have cashed in their title shot opportunities and were successful, as here we're seeing the first or second title defense of Ilya Dragunov against Darby Allin. And I can also announce that for our February events, I can say that we have a couple of title matches to announce and more to come. I can already tell you that in February, which is the second of 2 shows we're going to be showing you this evening, the Hall of Fame title will be on the line as new champion William Regal is going to be putting the belt on the line against Bret the Hitman Hart. And we already know the main event, the big one. It's going to be a big 10 match show in February. And it's going to be headlined by a bout for the GWA World title, currently held by Mitsuharu Misawa, putting the belt on the line against Stone Cold Steve Austin. That'll be the 3rd of 3 Trios champion cash-ins. And if history has taught us anything of the reign of William Regal, Steve Austin, and Ilya Dragunov as Trios champs, they are 2 for 2 so far and could very well go 3 for 3. We will see. That is going to be your main event of the evening. Hoya! So there, we're going to pop back to me here. As you can tell, we got a couple more title matches in the February show. We already got the January one booked. But without any further delay, oh, there's the fancy one. There we go. Up into the top corner so we can get this January show underway. I'm starting a new booking philosophy, or I'm slightly tweaking my booking philosophy here. Let me show you what's on tap for the show we're about to present. Here you go. So it's year 6, it's month 1. You can see the lowercase m after that. That means this is a minor pay-per-view or show, in my opinion, which means it is a 7-match card. So we're going to try to do as many singles, have a couple title matches on these lower shows, and then we're going to send out a good half dozen folk to various promotions, as you can see below. So what we're going to start with is some trios action. Kairi Sane, Kazuchika Okada, and Keiji Muto, representing the Squared Circle K, are going to be taking on the Heartbreakers trio of Flamita El Tejano Jr. and the leader of the Heartbreakers himself, Shawn Michaels. And then we're going to be treated to Brody Lee versus Drew McIntyre. The Mad Buds, Mad Polly and Buddy Murphy, are going to be taking on Randy Orton and John Moxley in a #1 contenders tag team match. So the winner of this title, or this match, will get a tag team title opportunity on our February show. And I have Both graphics drawn up in anticipation. The Undertaker is back, and he's in singles action against Hangman Adam Page. Just because I thought that might be a fun singles match. I mean, this is sort of my dream fantasy promotion, if you will. All right, and now, as we said, our triple main event, Juchen Liger versus Tetsuhitsu Takaiwa for the Legends Junior Championship. Fingers crossed we can add a fourth title to our roster, a secondary junior championship, just to get a little more, a little more title activity on most of our shows. And then Matt and Nick, the Jacksons, the Young Bucks, are here to face Lindaman and Kenta Kobashi for the AEW tag titles. And as we said, Darby Allin cashing in that #1 contendership that he won around Christmas immediately against Ilya Dragunov for the GWA junior title. And then, okay, we got some news here. We are trying to get friendly with Big Japan Pro Wrestling, so we sent them CM Punk and Raven. In the back of my head, maybe they'll put them in a match against each other. This is just sort of like a dream scenario for Ring of Honor. We're like, you know, who would be the best person we could send them? And it's like, Kurt Angle. Just go have some fun, buddy. And then here we are kicking down our very own Forbidden Door, as we've sent Bret Hart and Rey Fenix, who's fresh coming back from injury. So we're going to like rehab him on a smaller show in Mexico before bringing him back to the GWA. And in so doing, we are now forming a relationship with CMLL, despite already being friendly with AAA and saying all this time that we didn't want to get in between the two of them. But since we are universally beloved by the rest of the wrestling landscape, we'll try to make friends with everybody. And we've also sent Steve Austin to the WWE to do some promotion for his title fight in the GWA, like in our Fed in February. So we got some friends that we're going to have to take a look at after we run our card. But here's just a quick rundown of what you're going to see in the January show. I just wanted to pop that up just to sort of give you an idea of the new format, where minor shows are going to be 7 matches and major shows are going to be 10. There's just a quick little, every February we're going to have a major show. I don't know what to, I'm going to try, and this is just, I guess this is a teaser for the future. I'm going to try to like get them all names, maybe draw up some make my own background or something like that, so they each have their own individual graphics. Mind you, they're going to have the same set of graphics every year that we run it, so I really only have to make a dozen of them. So, but I'm going to try to do that. Like, certainly every October we're going to continue to run the Trios Tournament of Terror. In fact, in year 6, the Trios Tournament of Terror is Trios Tournament of Terror Trace. So that's going to be something to look forward to once we get into October of this year. But long before we reach that, we have this January card to get through. We have Trios action. Speaking of trios, as the Squared Circle K are taking on the Heartbreakers. Let me get my big dumb face out the way. Hoya! And get on down to that ring. In front of 40,000 strong. Again, this is a smaller show, so we're going to do it in front of 40,000 strong. As always, the creature on feature, the senior official here, Mr. Bigfoot, calling for the bell, and we have got some new sponsorship this year too. Spice Records. All right, so we have yellow turnbuckles, which is nice. All right, fairly plain aprons so far. That's fun. As Flamita and Kairi Sane starting things off for their respective teams. Quick no count in the early going. Flamita trying to slow things down and keep Kairi Sane nicely down in the Heartbreaker's corner. Going for these quick pin attempts, just trying to tire her out, lifting Flamita's body weight off of her. Quick forearm shot allows her to tag in Keiji Muto, former Hall of Fame champion here in the GWA. Hang on. Both faction leaders here, Shawn Michaels and Keiji Muto, former Hall of Fame champions. We're going to see the Hall of Fame championship defended in February. Later on this evening, for those out of video game wrestling universe kayfabe, as El Tejano Jr. is in there now against Keiji Muto. El Tejano Jr. in the pink, white, and red trunks. Muto in the long tights. The decorative long tights, if I do say. Taking out to Kazuchika Okada, current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion in really real life. Definitely shining as the MVP and ace of that promotion over the 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom this year. I'm not going to say the lone bright spots were his matches, but certainly the event's built toward the proper people being in the main event. As we see Shawn Michaels for the first time, these two are going to hook up in a singles match in February. So this is a bit of a teaser. Shawn Michaels and Kazuchika Okada going one-on-one. I neglected to look up if they'd actually faced one another in singles competition in this promotion beforehand, but it looked nice on paper. So we're running it, whether we run it before or not. As I quickly try to scroll through my increasingly elaborate text file. All right, enough of that. Let's get back to the current action. I'm just going to confuse myself.
Give up. Give up.
Okay, let's set this back up. There we go. Got to keep track of who wins and how. Oh, beautiful moonsault to the center of the ring. Thankfully for Flamita, his Heartbreaker teammates in there to break up that pin. Or Keiji Muto would have stolen one there in under 10 minutes. Smartly done there by Flamita, dragging Muto back to his corner to get a tag in to Michaels. And then a handspring elbow by the wily veteran Keiji Muto after sending Michaels across the ring. Diving body press, wrong part of town for the Heartbreak Kid. Trying to work Muto back into his own corner now. Nice power slam. Continues to work the midsection until he's caught with a dragon screw leg whip. Muto's had enough. Oh, sweet chin music to think about on his way out of the ring from Shawn Michaels. As Kazuchika Okada sends him to the floor. The lawless area of the GWA ring. Oh my gosh. Tombstone on the floor by Okada to Michaels. Follows it up with a powerbomb counter at the 10-minute mark. No countouts or DQs on the floor. This brawl will continue until Okada and Michaels get back into the ring. Flamita saving Michaels from a Rainmaker attempt there. Michaels clearly dazed. Pin attempts won't help you. Oh my gosh, the flipping capo kick. Hang on. Okada stealing a page out of Flamita's playbook. With that muscle buster lung blower? I'm trying to figure out exactly what he drops that into. But it certainly starts with a muscle buster setup. Things calming down as much as you can call that as we get back to normal. Hang on! Super kick into the pedigree by El Tejano Jr. Going into a leg lock here. A little too early in the match to attempt a submission in my estimation, but anything to wear down your opponent. Oh, like that double clothesline. So we see some double team action from the squared circle K. High speed moonsault from Muto, going back up for a second. 2 in a row to the small of the back of Tejano. Tejano able to maintain his wits and hits that air raid crash. Back to the dragon screw. Muto's gonna wear down your legs for a figure 4 Shining Wizard. Tejano barely able to kick out. He'll also work that midsection with that 60-year-old moonsault. Going back up for another one, this time into a pin. 1, 2, got him! Multiple moonsaults from Keiji Muto. Bruising and battering the torso of El Tejano Jr. Spilling defeat for the Heartbreakers and victory for the Squared Circle K. Really? That was a 97? Awesome. 15. Hang on, let me get back on cam. 14 and a half minutes, 97% crowd satisfaction. Honestly, that's a good way that I can just keep people in the loop of like being on a show and they don't really have to work that hard. All right. That didn't feel like a 97 to me. That felt like it was barely into the 80s. Certainly not out of them. But this should be a real humdinger I just wanted two meaty men slapping meat, and that's what we're gonna get when Brody Lee faces Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre here. Let's get down to the ring and see how this shakes out. This is action between the Standard, represented by Brody Lee, and the black and purple. Oh, both gentlemen wearing black and purple. Brody Lee, the full bodysuit, more or less. Drew McIntyre representing the Doldrums in the trunks. As always, senior official here, Senor Sasquatch, calling for the whistle in this 40,000-seat arena. McIntyre going to work early on the chest of Brody Lee, trying to slap the hair off it. Could go chest hair for chest hair in this one. Early advantage McIntyre's way. Really trying to shrug it off. Nice body slam there. Slowing things down with the Boston Crab. Not to be confused with the Austin Crab. New favorite submission of Stone Cold Steve Austin. What is that down there? Are we represented by bananas now? That's amazing. Oh, I do like that our aprons are red and blue. I mean, they're opposite. That's too bad, but they're opposite the blue and red of the ring, but that's okay. A lot of primary color going on in this year's GWA ring. Oh, Falcon Arrow. Brody Lee doing the deal. Electing not to go for a cover, though. Could come back to haunt him. You plant somebody with a Falcon Arrow, you hook that leg, it's a guaranteed 3. At least in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla lore. Big chop by Drew McIntyre. Hang on, Brody Lee going for a butterfly suplex. Can't get the big man over. Mind you, you could say you can't get the big man over for either of these gentlemen, depending on how the moves go. Big headbutt by Brody Lee. Oh, there it is! Oh, but too close to the ropes. Drew McIntyre able to get his foot on that bottom rope to save himself. Even the pin attempt. After that discus lariat. Immediate backdrop off the ropes by Brody Lee, trying to disorient Drew McIntyre. Nice. Thrust kick under the jaw. Oh. These two big men trading violence for only 7 minutes now. Don't know how much longer either man can last at the pace they're setting. Looking for a knockout shot with every blow here. Oh, throwing snap suplex. Tossing Brody Lee into the turnbuckle, and now a throwing belly to belly by McIntyre. Impressive display of strength there, but you can see both men already quite winded. Brody Lee finally hitting that butterfly suplex, but it cost him some time here. Oh, future shock DDT by McIntyre, but Brody Lee's right back to his feet and hits another discus lariat into the cover. 2! No! Drew McIntyre escapes. Drops Brody Lee with a clothesline of his own. There it is, the Claymore! Hooks the leg, 1, 2, no! Brody Lee just rolls the shoulder, future shock! Brody Lee sends McIntyre off the rope, big boot! Brody Lee catching his breath now. Both men running on fumes. Hoping to hit that last big move. Ripcord, and then sends him off into a boss man slam. Dodges the headbutt. Does not dodge the future shock, but absorbs it once again. Does Brody Lee off the ropes. Drops him with a clothesline. McIntyre absorbs it. Claymore. 1, 2, no! Brody Lee escapes again! Big boot by Lee! Catching his breath, allows McIntyre to stand before turning him inside out with a clothesline! 2 in a row and into the cover. 1, 2, 3. Brody Lee with an impressive win over Drew McIntyre. That thing got heated. That was an action-packed 12 minutes. My word. $95. Heck yeah. The dark discus lariat. Oh, I was missing a word there, but pretty close. Pretty close. All right. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. So 2 matches into the 90s. So our average, I was going to say is 96 with a 97 and a 95. Let's save this quick. Everything's good. All right. Our next match, as we said earlier, is a #1 contenders match for the tag team titles, meaning the winner of this one is going to get a tag team title shot on our next show. It also means the champions have a bit of an advantage as they don't have to wrestle on this show. Mind you, Phoenix is in CMLL wrestling in Mexico. Yuji Hino gets the month off, and both of their contenders, regardless of who wins, have to endure the wear and tear of a highly competitive GWA tag team match, much like we're about to see right meow. So it's the Mad Buds, Buddy Murphy and Mad Polly against Jon Moxley and Randy Orton. Moxley and Buddy starting things off here. If you're in the mood for some tunes, head on down to Spice Records, where the spice must flow. If you want to be my lover, you gotta get with my tunes down in Spike Records. I say Spike, I meant Spice. Spike being the makers of the game. I don't know if it's their former, it used to be Spike, then Human. Can't remember. I don't know which order it goes in. Now it's like Spike Chunsoft, I think, is the new one. Those that have owned the Fire Pro license over the years. Like HAL Wrestling was a Game Boy game they made, but that was, HAL was for like Human something Labs or something, I think. And they just became Human, etc., etc. As this is broken down already into a brawl on the floor where there are no countouts or disqualifications, you see Randy Orton, the Apex Predator, using his deadliest of moves, the face lock and the stomp. As Mad Polly and Jon Moxley are also trading blows here. No countouts, no DQs. This will continue until the legal fighters get back into the ring. Buddy Murphy taking a pause. Mad Polly rolling back into the ring to settle this thing down. Smartly done. As Murphy sends Moxley into the corner of the Mad Buds. Oh my gosh! Before torpedo blasting him all the way across the ring into the turnbuckle. Not the wisest of moves by Buddy Murphy, as that allowed Jon Moxley to tag, or rather Randy Orton to tag the flailing limbs of one Jon Moxley and get himself legal in the match so Moxley could recover. Now Orton and Mad Polly are going tete-a-tete. Polly thinks he did the damage with a single punch to the head. Nice counter to the face and headlock. You're going to have to work in a lot of counters to face and headlocks if you're facing Randy Orton. Case in point here, as he once again slows things down. 2 different positions on the headlock that time. By, again, the Apex Predator. That's how they bill him. Nice suplex there by Orton. Smooth as silk. I'll give him that. But like the tomato soup of wrestlers. You could eat it if you wanted to, and it's perfectly fine. But it's also born-ass tomato soup. I don't know, that was on the fly. I hadn't really put much thought into that. Not trying to diss tomato soup in general. But it's like plain, it's fine. Nothing flashy. As Jon Moxley tagged in now. He's going to want this thing to break down into a brawl and in a hurry. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to maneuver Buddy Murphy to the floor once more. Hang on, Buddy Murphy with the advantage. Flips him over into a DDT off the shoulder.
1, 2.
Orton in for the save at 2. You see Mad Polly staying on the apron there. Perhaps conserving some energy. Perhaps wasn't aware of the pin attempt. Hang on. Double powerbomb to Murphy. As Orton and Mox refresh. Orton in, Moxley out. Oh, the hanging DDT off the middle rope by Orton. Right in front of Buddy's partner, Mad Polly. He's gonna get a chance at revenge here after getting tagged in. So far, no good for Mad Polly as Orton's continuing his onslaught. Both teams know what's at stake. #1 contendership in the tag team division and a guaranteed title shot at our February show. Provided, of course, no one is grievously injured in this matchup. Big splash in the corner by Mad Polly. In the wrong part of town, but still wailing away on Orton. Orton sends him off the ropes. Big back body drop. As only a third-generation superstar can hit it. Back into the headlock. The deadliest of locks. That's where he hears all the voices. He hears voices in his headlocks. Big choke slam by Polly. Plants Orton and allows him time to get Murphy back in. Unfortunately, the plan goes awry as Orton is also able to tag out and mocks the crowd, who are obviously behind the Mad Buds. Paradigm shift to Buddy Murphy by Jon Moxley. Eventually into the cover. 2 and no, Murphy escapes. Took a long time for Moxley to get over for that cover. Hang on. Polly Buster to Randy Orton in the center of the ring. Meanwhile, feuding and fussing in the corner. Another paradigm shift to Murphy. 1, 2, 3. The second one does the charm. Jon Moxley and Randy Orton are your winners. And the #1 contenders. #1 contenders. That one I don't think reached the heights. Oh yeah! I haven't checked. Let me see. You've got to be kidding. Wow. We are crushing it with relatively short matches here. Holy moly. All right. I feel like our promotion might be over in America. All right, I'll take it. I mean, I'm not gonna say no. This will take a little longer to set up because I have to now. I can even actually combine this stuff I want to. I need to do this, and then I need to do that. Okay, so that also helped me book the next show. All right, we can move on. Boing. Paradigm shift into pinfall. Simple as that. Okay, so far so good. The 40,000 strong are entertained. Let's see if they are further entertained by our last non-title singles match before our big triple championship roundup here to close off our January show. We're running The Undertaker versus Hangman Adam Page, a battle of two former Hall of Fame champions here in the GWA. Let's see what happens when Adam Page faces The Undertaker in singles competition. Hoo-yah! Mad props as always to our monster ref, Mr. Bigfoot, keeping the law here in the GWA. Calling for the whistle and we are underway. Nice couple of blocks there by The Undertaker before unleashing some striking of his own. The most prolific striker in the history of sentient beings is The Undertaker. Just ask him. Back at the big clothesline is Hangman Adam Page. The wily, real-life AEW World Champion who put on his big boy pants for a couple of matches with Bryan Danielson in the past couple weeks and did fantastically. Trying to take the wind out of the sails of The Undertaker. with those shoulder thrusts in the corner, but the big dead man keeps right on swinging. Nice follow-away slam into the corner by Page. Impressive strength getting in the Undertaker over like that. Giving up a good foot to the man. In height, that is. Sent off the ropes and counters, does Page. Just bulls Taker over. Oh, you don't want to get into a striking battle with the Undertaker. He's the greatest puncher in the history of carbon-based life forms. But somehow, some way, Hangman Adam Page gets the best of him, at least momentarily. Huge short arm clothesline. Big boot, but Page stands his ground. Trying to soften him up for a bit of old school later, perhaps. There we see those prolific strikes. Look at him wail away. Sends him into the corner. Page able to break free. Big choke slam coming up. Into the cover. 1, 2. No, Page escapes at the 5-minute mark. That might have dimmed the lights. But Page haven't had enough presence of mind to get that shoulder up before the count of 3. Undertaker sucking wind here. Gets spiked by a DDT by Page, who's trying to stay on Dead Man Inc. Trying to survive the onslaught. Counter as much as you can, hit as much offense as you can before you get spiked with another choke slam. 1, 2. No, Page is out again. You know Taker's going to be looking for that last ride. Hangman's going to be looking to set Undertaker up for the buckshot lariat. Oh, big DDT out of the corner. That Page may have been thinking buckshot from the turnbuckle setup, but Undertaker counter with that huge DDT, and now here comes the last ride to the Hangman. Plants him into the cover. 1, 2. Page out at 2. Page beats Undertaker to the punch, but gets sent to the floor. This could go either way out here. No countouts, no DQs. Undertaker feeling it. Hang on. Ushi to the back of the neck, and the Undertaker and Page grabs a chair. Just chops him in the chest with the chair, but it didn't take him down. Uh-oh, now the Taker has something to chokeslam or powerbomb Page onto. Page trying to fight his way free here. Working on the shoulders of Undertaker now. All for naught as he hits another choke slam and can catch his breath. Hang on, Page is up immediately. Another Ushi to the neck of the Undertaker. What fight from the Hangman we're seeing here. Oh gosh. Oh no. Last ride on the floor at the 10-minute mark. These matches are getting serious in a hurry tonight. Undertaker sent off the guardrail. Somehow, some way, Hangman Adam Page is still in this fight. Very grateful for the no countout rule right now, I'm sure. Undertaker countering the butterfly suplex. Taking his time, loves to dictate the pace, slow and methodical. Oh my God, 0-3-16 to the Undertaker! Spiking him with that pile driver is Hangman Adam Page. Got the big man rocking and reeling. Can he put the dead man away? Clicking R3. 1, 2. No. Undertaker escapes. Sends Page off the rope. But some poor timing there, and both men are down. Back and forth they go once again. Page winning the battle of the clotheslines. Too close for a proper cover, but he tries anyway. A third last ride. Spikes him into the canvas. 1, 2. Page out at 2 again. Spin kick to the back of the head of the Undertaker. Follow-away slam by Adam Page. Where is he getting this from? Both men trying to fight for some sort of title contention here. Turning a lot of heads with this match. straight right from Undertaker. Gets sent off the ring. Forearm shiver. Drops the dead man. Oh, release German by Hangman Adam Page. Taker fights his way back to his feet, but he's dazed. Big back body drop. Another fall-away slam. Looks like Page is trying to work him into the corner here. Hang on! Saito suplex! Taker now. Can't follow up after he sends Page off the ropes. Taker's winded. Page knows it. Looking to close in on a huge win here is Hangman Adam Page. Undertaker hanging on by a thread. Doing everything he can to fend Hangman off. Last ride! Last ride out of nowhere! Taker can't follow up with the pin. Gets slammed out of the ring. This actually works out for Undertaker. Oh no, maybe it doesn't. As Hangman Adam Page follows him outside with a dive. Page all over the Undertaker here, but he's got to get him back into the ring for a pinfall or a submission. You can see what it's taken out of Page now as we approach the 20-minute mark. Looking at the crowd for some more energy is Hangman Adam Page. You can't take your foot off the gas against the Undertaker is the problem. I don't know how much gas Page has left in the tank as Undertaker's starting to rally. Another last ride on the floor! The fifth of the matchup to Hangman Adam Page. And now a choke slam! Page is right back up! Undertaker, did he just retreat to the center of the ring? Off the ropes he comes. Huge diving clothesline. Page is back up. Choke slam, this should do it. 1, 2, 3. Undertaker with the victory, but what a showing for Hangman Adam Page. A heck of a contest. Yeah. All right. All right. Longest, least liked. I guess they have a wheelhouse. Keep it under 20. Not too shabby, though. Sweet. All right, now it's all title matches from here on out, I think. I also just noticed that my match list was numbered 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 6, 7. So I fixed that. Wowzers. All right, let's get a good save going. Whew. All right, now it's the triple main event. These 3 title matches. First off, as we said, this certainly isn't to appeal to the ego of Juchen Thunder Liger, but we have brought in Tetsuhitsu Takaiwa, the Legends Junior Champion. Legends being one of the 2 defunct promotions. We already have the Hall of Fame Heavyweight Championship belt. We're hoping to add the Legends Junior title to our junior division. And first up, the challenge for that, representing the GWA, is Juchen Thunder Liger. You're going to have to watch out for the powerbomb combinations out of Takaiwa. And of course the Liger bomb and various palm strikes from Juchen Thunder Liger here. Looking to take the early advantage after Mr. Bigfoot calls for the whistle in this Legends Junior Title Championship contest. Tetsuhitsu Takaiwa, currently on the European and independent scene after the folding of the Legends promotion. Trying to keep that title. A proud champion, as well he should be. Liger, of course, one of the most decorated junior heavyweights in the history of pro wrestling. Going to be looking to bring the title not only to the GWA, but more personally for him, around his very own waist, as it definitely cements him as a legend in the junior heavyweight ranks in pro wrestling. We already have a Hall of Fame championship in the league. Let's get a Legends belt as well. I don't know. I can't remember what I'm supposed to call that instead of bow and arrow, because the bow and arrow is apparently culturally insensitive. I don't say apparently. in that I'm mocking it and saying that it's not. I'm saying I'm unaware of anyone in particular being offended by it. Is that a sharpshooter out of Takaiwa? Sending a message to future Hall of Fame Championship contender Bret Hart. Oh, big powerbomb there. He's got them in bunches. Known for his triple powerbomb combination, and also he has a secondary combo where he does 2 powerbombs and then pulls you up for a Death Valley driver. The powerhouse in the junior division, Takaiwa. I always remember that from watching his matches in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Stood out because most other competitors in the junior division, more high flying, perhaps more grounded, whereas Takaiwa always went power as much as he could, especially with those powerbomb combos. Hang on, we might see one here. Here it comes. The third. Drops Liger into the pin. 1. Liger out at 1. The first of many powerbombs I'm sure we're likely to see in this one. As champion and challenger just going back and forth there. Huge clothesline by Takaiwa. Sends Liger off the ropes. Drops him with a second one, this time a falling variety, center of the ring. Liger able to counter. Beautiful capo kick in the corner, just blasting his heel into the nose. Tetsuhitsu Takaiwa in pursuit of that Legends Championship. Nice elbow off the top by Liger. Hang on. Oh. 2, 3. Again, the hat trick of power bombs by Takaiwa into the cover. Gets a 2 this time. Right back to it. 2, 3 again. Pulls away from the ropes, right back into the cover. Just trying to smother Liger into the canvas with those moves. Liger now with a powerbomb of his own. No, it's a Liger bomb. 2. Come on, Liger. No. I apologize for my biased commentary, but Liger works for us. Why wouldn't we want him to have a belt that we can keep with us? Huge powerbomb by Liger. Gets a 2. Enziguri by Juchen Thunder Liger. Looking to bring the Legends Junior title to the GWA. Has withstood 9 power bombs and counting in groups of 3. Here we go again. Oh, into the Death Valley driver this time. Liger able to fight his way back to his feet. Blocks a clothesline attempt. Liger going for the power bomb. Too close to the ropes. Oh, on the frog splash. Not going to be able to get a pin attempt. Takaiwa back to his feet. Gotta be thinking powerbomb. Hang on, Lamahi's throw from Liger. Rolls him up. Only 2. Another Enziguri. Shooting star press to the small of the back of Takaiwa by Liger. Another Lamahi Stroll, center of the ring this time. Got him. Liger wins. We got a new Legends Junior champion. And my gambit pays off. Excellent. Excellent. I love it. Got a new champion. Woo. Woo. How'd we do? Worst match on the card? Don't care. Don't care, because we have 2 junior titles now. Excellent. We have 2 heavy titles. We have 2 junior titles. We have a tag title to defend regularly. Good stuff. Good stuff. We're not going to activate our junior tag team titles, I don't think. If anything, we might poach. No, I don't even think I ever really want to poach a secondary tag belt. I'll take one more singles title, perhaps. But I'm not going to, like, I don't want to. I'm fine, like, with featuring, I call them wayward champions, where we have champions that are champions of somewhere they're not, like, they're not part of the promotion. Like, we have a couple of champions that are freelance. Takaiwa, formerly one of them. that no longer have to worry about it. Okay, excellent. And I've just made a note to myself, since I built a champion section at the top of my big old text file here, that I now need to add an entry for the Legend Junior title. Love it. I have to think of a 3-letter abbreviation for Legend that's not LEG. I don't want the Leg Junior. LGD? Let's do that, sure. LGD. Okay. Excellent, excellent stuff. Boom! New champion crown. Thanks for hanging out, Takaiwa. Maybe work on your power bombs. No, I'm just kidding. You did great. Hit 11 of them. Couldn't put Liger down. Finally, guys. We finally got the Young Bucks to show up, and I know I keep saying that, but it really miffed me that they didn't show up. Well, it more miffed me that I accidentally saved it because I didn't realize that they didn't show up because they didn't tell me. I'll let you in on a little secret. I do give 3 strikes to each of these things in hard mode. So in running the event, I had to do it twice. The first time, Nick Jackson didn't show up to this card because he objected with our wrestling style. Even though we approached AEW, a promotion we are friendly with, because we're friendly with everybody, and we paid the $100,000 to get him here. He accepted all of that and then just changed his mind. That's not even a personal emergency or an accident or an illness or anything like that. It's just literally I don't agree with your wrestling philosophies. Well, prove it in the ring, ding dong. Anyway, we tried a second time, and of course they showed up, so we're all good. So we can present Nick and Matt Jackson. The Young Bucks tried to wrestle the AEW Tag Team Championships away from El Lindaman, who is under contract to AEW, and GWA's own Kenta Kobashi, who we loaned to AEW 1 month and became tag team champions, and we've been trying to get them the belts back since. So let's see if we can be successful when they face the elite of all elite, the Young Bucks. Hiya! Down to the ring we go. No doubt about it, as Mr. Bigfoot calls for the bell. Nick Jackson in there with El Lindaman to start. AEW Tag Team Gold on the line, presented here for you in a GWA ring for the first and perhaps final time. Or not the first, perhaps the final time if we can get the belts off them. See, this is technically a Wayward Championship match because one half of the tag team titles shouldn't be around the waist of Kenta Kobashi, so we're trying to rectify that. The hardest one we're going to have a problem with is William Regal is 1/3 of a trios title, or a trios champion somewhere. I don't know what league, and I don't know who his partners are. I'd have to figure. I guess I'd have to do process of elimination based on what the belts on his profile look like. I might make a note to do that off air before next week's show. As the Young Bucks looking to show out Kenta Kobashi and El Lindaman and take the AEW Tag Team straps back to their home promotion. The Rolling Hills by Matt Jackson, normally part of the sequence called More Bang for Your Buck. Tried to lure Kenta Kobashi out of the ring, I believe, or perhaps Kenta Kobashi just didn't like the... All right, bit of cat and mouse being played. So now Matt Jackson looking to take advantage momentarily on the larger and more powerful Kenta Kobashi as El Lindaman and Nick Jackson look on from their respective aprons. Now Lindaman's going to help his partner, his champion partner, Kenta Kobashi, one half of the AEW Tag Champs. Obviously, our AEW roster needs a little updating. In the Universe overalls, El Lindaman, a member of Strong Hearts, hasn't been featured on AEW television in quite some time. Certainly with the pandemic and all. Oh, nice counter into the half and half suplex to Matt Jackson there by Kobashi. Meanwhile, Nick Jackson, nice elbow combination on El Lindaman. As things look to settle down, Matt Jackson and Kobashi, the legal fighters, back to it. Fighters refresh on either side, and now El Lindaman and Nick Jackson on a collision course here. As we said, the Young Bucks, a regular team in AEW, looking to bring the titles back to the promotion full time, not have an outsider as one half of the champions. Likewise, in our booking efforts, we're hoping, you know, I don't want to root against GWA in any shape or form, but we're hoping that the Young Bucks are able to do it so that we relieve Kenta Kobashi of these extracurricular activities. He can focus solely on his GWA career. Not that we're not thrilled to have the Young Bucks with us. We're not thrilled that it took a couple tries, including no-showing an earlier event that they were booked for, in order to properly make it happen. I tried to, I went to the Ring of Honor roster, and I tried to, I'm just going to be completely transparent about this, I tried to book El Lindaman and Kenta Kobashi versus the Briscoes for the AEW titles, but it looks like the Briscoes aren't in Ring of Honor right now. So I didn't want to, like, give it to a makeshift team. We'll see what the Young Bucks can do against, oh my gosh, former GWA World Champion Kenta Kobashi. Oh, getting back to what I was saying earlier about the booking philosophy of, or the slight shift in booking where I'm going to have quote-unquote minor events like this 7-match card, and then do the major events, which are 10-match cards. The theory behind that also is the 7-match cards are more likely to take place outside of America, and then I'll like regroup with a major event in like a football stadium back in the States type of deal in case I start losing money. But we have a $500,000 broadcast deal every month, so I think we're going to be okay covering production costs, even if we don't necessarily draw crowds internationally. But we're going to start working in year 6 on continuing to build our reputation in Mexico and starting to build a reputation in Japan and Europe. So stay tuned for that. Beautiful 450 splash there by Nick Jackson, but too close to the ropes. As Kobashi's able to escape, Nick evades the moonsault from Kobashi, tries to drag him into a position for a cover, but it's kind of difficult to line them up in the southern and northern quadrants of the ring. Both teams tag up once again. Now El Lindaman and Matt Jackson. El Lindaman and Kenta Kobashi, not a regular tag team. Meanwhile, Nick and Matt Jackson, literal brothers, have been teaming up for most of, if not their entire lives. Nice tiger suplex here with the bridge by El Lindaman. Almost gets the pin on Matt Jackson. Excellent Puroretsu fundamentals from El Lindaman here. Nice clothesline in the corner. Jackson able to escape. Tags in brother Nick. Young Bucks, renowned for their tag team offense. Their tag team combination maneuvers. Haven't seen a lot of that to this point. Big frog splash from El Lindaman though, but Matt Jackson able to break it up. Pays for it with a number of chops to the throat. And Kenta Kobashi has to witness his brother Nick be tied to the tree of woe across the ring. Lindaman with the rolling German. Nick tries to escape, thinks better of it. To his own dismay as he gets snap suplexed. And Lindaman gets Kenta Kobashi legal in the match once again. This could spell disaster for the Young Bucks, who I feel are going to want to target El Lindaman as the weaker of the two tag team champions. Physically, I do mean. Clearly smaller, not nearly as strong as the former GWA World Champion Kenta Kobashi here, whose fighting spirit cannot be matched. Kobashi going up top for another big moonsault. Can't get a pin off it though. Matt tries to slow him down with a DDT, no such luck. Delayed vertical by Kobashi. Has to catch his breath for a second. Oh dear. Some poor timing or poor ring awareness there by Kobashi. Turns it into an orange crush, but he's too close to the ropes. Nice recovery there from Kobashi. Way to keep the offensive momentum as Matt Jackson playing to the crowd now. Gonna go strike for strike with Kenta Kobashi. Big super kick. Into the cover for Matt Jackson. El Lindaman saves the titles. That could have done it. Another rolling hills toward the red corner. Unfortunately, the corner of the champions, if you're the Young Bucks. As now quickly, Kobashi's able to make that tag out to El Lindaman and recover on the apron. Likewise now, Matt Jackson's going to get Nick Jackson in. Young Bucks trying to remain fresh as well. So fresh and so clean like that 450. But too close to the ropes. Matt Jackson trying to distract El Lindaman. Both Young Bucks sent to the floor here. Nice counter by Nick Jackson. Keeping Lindaman in the contender's corner. Big backbreaker. Oh, pulls into the armbar, but his legs are under the rope. He's going to have to break that right away as we pass the 20-minute mark. And once you're over 20 minutes in a tag team contest like this, every submission attempt is for serious. Could end the moment, or excuse me, could end the match in a moment, in a heartbeat. As Lindaman is trying to fight Nick Jackson into the champion's corner here. Nice counter into the Bulldog by Nick. Content to slug it out with El Lindaman. Huge super kick by Nick. Into the cover. Ill-advised as he's too close to the ropes, and it brings Kenta Kobashi into the match. Another super kick. Kobashi has to tag up. Matt running defense. El Lindaman escapes it too. Finally saw a flash of the Young Bucks we know. A bit of tandem offense there. Brother helping brother with that pin attempt on El Lindaman. Hang on, super kick by El Lindaman to Matt Jackson. A statement made as he tags in Kenta Kobashi. Belly to Matt Jackson. Half and half by Kenta Kobashi. Blasts him into the corner of the champions. Another rolling hills by Matt Jackson. Ase moonsault off the corner, or out of the corner. Oh, double super kick to Kobashi. X marking the spot, but he responds with a burning lariat to Matt Jackson and into the cover. 1, 2. Jackson escapes. Off the ropes. Big drop kick to Kobashi. Tags in Nick. Another double super kick. Nick goes up top. 450 splash. 1, 2, 3. The Young Bucks do it. We have new AEW champions. Tag team champions, that is. Oh, and Kenta Kobashi even was mad enough to do the job for them. Wowzers. That's all in the name of doing goodwill with AEW. There you go. They got their belts back. It was a good match. I don't think Kenta Kobashi's hurt by the loss. I feel like we're going to give him... Yeah, I feel like he's got a... Looking down, he's got a singles match booked, tentatively booked for next month. So he'll be fine. And that sets up our main event. Coming up next. New champions crowned once again. Yes. Oh, let me go up to my wayward champions section. That eliminates Kenta Kobashi. Ah, William Regal is 1/3 of the Impact Wrestling Trios champions, so I have no earthly idea who his two partners are. And we'll have to figure that out at some point. Okay. One of them's probably Rhino. I feel like he does a lot in that promotion. So let's go ahead and save once more. And get down to our first of two main events. This is the main event of the first show that we're going to be presenting, and then we're going to book and air the February show as our sort of like climax to our weekly broadcast here. First up, though, main event of night one, or month one. Darby Allin cashing in that #1 contendership that he earned winning the 4-way elimination match during the Christmas Carnage event that we presented on December 23rd. Is cashing in to face the GWA Junior Champion, Ilya Dragunov. So let's go down to the ring and get this thing underway. Hiya! Tip of the cap, as always, to our senior official, Mr. Bigfoot, who signals for the whistle. And this main event is underway. Champion Ilya Dragunov in the black trunks. Challenger Darby Allin, the half-face paint, or the half-painted face. And the Daisy Dukes with tights underneath. Hey, Juice. It wouldn't surprise me if Dayman and Nightman were in the Steam Workshop for this game. Oh, wow. Pretty catchy though, right? Champion and challenger going back and forth here in the early going. Can't get it out of my head. Yeah, it's a real earworm. I can see how it might have just naturally developed during production or something, and they couldn't get it out of their heads, so they had to use it. You know what I mean? That's my favorite. Just sounds so majestic. It kind of reminds me of the Flash Gordon soundtrack that Queen did. Challenger Darby Allin smartly taking his time, remaining in the center of the ring. Normally we'd see Darby Allin, hell-bent for leather, just dive out after his opponent here, but in the early going of a championship contest like this, some maturity shown, quite frankly, by Darby Allin. Perhaps saving more dangerous maneuvers like that for when they can be more advantageous later. That is, if he gets a chance. Nice counter into the Bulldog by the challenger Darby Allin. Perhaps dragging off into position for a coffin drop.
5 minutes gone.
5 minutes gone in this one. Darby Allin, the fisherman's friend. Looking for that coffin drop. He should use a fisherman suplex and call it the fisherman's friend if he is a coffin drop. Just throwing that out there. Dragunov, one of the success stories from the GWA developmental system. The best facilities in this fictional wrestling landscape belong to the gnarly wrestling aisle. We couldn't be happier to have you strolling down it once again here. In the main event of the January show, with the February show to be booked and broadcast later on tonight. As Dragunov looking to retain the GWA Junior Champion, one of 3 two-time Junior Champions here in the league. As you see the smug look on the face of Dragunov in that cover that results in a no count. Oh, just chopping away at the challenger Darby Allin. Tuck position on that senton bomb. Might give that variation to Kevin Owens if I remember. There's the coffin drop to the small of the back. Darby Allin can't make a pin though. Damage going to be done, much like the damage of that weirdly angled power bomb that Dragunov does. Stalking his prey is the champion, trying to chop his head off. Any cough medicine? Like if he did one of his videos, but it he I don't know, crashed through a table that had the Robitussin logo on it or something. Be all right. Nice head scissor takeover into the corner. Falls up with a small package, does Allin. Dragunov able to escape it too. Darby going back up for another coffin drop. Pulls him away from the ropes and into the cover. 1, 2, no! Dragunov escapes. Back to work on the neck. Trying to pop his head like a cork. Oh! Torpedo Moscow headbutt to the chest! But Darby Allin gets out at 2.9! Dragunov looking for the 3-point yaw! Allin pouring it on here. GWA Junior title on the line. Dragunov, the current 9th champion in the company's history. The 3rd two-time champion after Buddy Murphy and Dragon Rojo Jr. I know that now because I have a title history at the top of my notepad now. Code Red! Dragunov just rolls the shoulder, barely able to escape, but Darby Allin hits another coffin drop. Rolls him into the cover. 1, 2. Dragunov out again. Great resilience by the champion. Getting fed up with Darby now, trying to slow things down with his Boston Crab. Saito suplex, center of the ring. High angle backdrop suplex this time. But Darby fights his way to his feet first. Plants him with a DDT. Darby's got to try to get him back into a corner to hit that coffin drop. Oh, the vicious chops of the champion Dragunov. Oh, blocked! Darby Allin blocked! And hit a drop kick. Oh, that may have been low. Ref, that may have been low. Dragunov desperately trying to stem the tide of offense from Darby Allin here. He just won't go away. Oh! What an STO variation. Excuse me, a Uranagi there by Dragunov. Another high angle backdrop of Darby again back to his feet first. A lot of heart left in the challenger. Coffin drop! Drags him away from the ropes. Into the pin, 1, 2, no! Dragunov escapes once more. Snap suplex by Allin. Pouring it on now as the challenger gets caught in a powerbomb. 2, no! I thought that may have been it, but Darby Allin able to roll the shoulder. Oh, the turnaround lariat from Dragunov. May have caught Darby Allin napping. No, he kicks out again. What a main event we're bringing you for the GWA Junior title. Drop down by Allin. Oh, double noggin knocker and both men are down. Both men back up. You can see champion Dragunov needs to catch his breath. Finds some time and space to do so. Allin in pursuit. Another tuck position sent on there by Dragunov, but he gets sent off the ropes at the 20-minute mark here. Double drop down there by Allin. Nice head scissor takeover. Thought he may have been positioning for another coffin drop there, but he goes for a code red. Hang on. Dragunov escapes immediately. Plants Darby Allin with another suplex. Oh, those vicious chops from the champion. Trying to slap the tattoo off the chest of Darby Allin. Gets him with that turnaround lariat once again and knocks him out! Ilya Dragunov retains! All right then. Nighty-night, Darby Allin. Woo. The sudden impact of that turnaround clothesline was more than Darby Allin could handle. The pursuit clothesline. He was in hot pursuit. All right. I'll take it. Boink. Okay, so we added the Legends Junior title to us. We sent the AEW Tag Team titles back to AEW, and our Junior champion retained. What a good show! I mean, what a good sequence of main events as well. But let's take a look at the overall average over here. I think it's going to be 93. 93, yeah, see? 93 overall in front of 40,000 strong. Heck of a show. Let me just take a quick look here. 30 million. Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. You've always been a fan of the, what are they called? Sublingual or whatever? The drops? Good stuff. Oh, I got, okay, from the OCS, I'm getting my normal, like, 15 Gs of just pre-milled whatever, who cares? But they also had, let me see if I can remember as many of the words as possible. Sahara 71, OG Chemdog, Live Resin, 510 cartridge. Yeah, I got all that. I mean, that's only one thing, but all those words together, I got one of those coming in the mail. All right, so Nick and Matt won the Young Bucks, or the Young Bucks, are the Young Bucks, won the AEW belts back. Almost 45,000 people, I'll have you know, were in the audience for that one. Holy crap. Chuck Taylor and Ricky Starks are the AEW Junior Tag Team Champions. Oh, god damn it. CM Punk won the Big Japan belt, won the Big Japan Tag Team belts. Okay. Oh, it's not Sahara. Is it San Rafael? It's something 71. I can't remember. Whatever it is. All right. Dang it, Punk! Hang on, let me adjust my text file now. CM Punk now has, from GWA, is one half of the Big Japan Pro Wrestling tag team title holders. Now I gotta bring in 3 people from Big Japan Pro Wrestling to try to get another tag team title off our hands. Oy, oy, oy. Well, at least I know what CM Punk got up to in this month. That was gonna be my next check. All right, GCW is doing a singles tournament. Bless your hearts. I think you only have like 8 wrestlers total. Nothing noteworthy. Boink. Star wrestler Mysterio joined Dragon, like Rey Mysterio joined Dragon Gate? That's a good get for them. Konami. All right. And oh, Sebastian Suave. Okay, I know who that is. Van Dam of All Japan was arrested for inciting violence. This will hurt their popularity. Oh, Rob, RVD, what have you done? Inciting violence. Wait, Rob Van Dam inciting violence? He's like the most chill dude. And speaking of, Dylan James from All Japan, do I have room for you on our giant show? You know what? I do. Sure, come on down. Only if you're the only person, yes. Okay, perfect. Here we go. Now begins the maintenance and managerial work before I can present the second show of the night. Starting with our training center maintenance. I'm still gonna do the lowest 2 every month because we made $1.5 million on that last show, and that was a small show. Mind you, we were in our home territory of the Americas, and we're about to do a, I think we're gonna try to sell out a 65,000 seater at $20 a pop. Everything gets repaired. And I'm gonna do the 2 lowest, the judo coach and the mat work coach. Done. Okay, so everything we've spent so far should be covered by our broadcast and advertising deals. I don't even know how much. Okay. We'll keep that. We blew those out. These ones we did runs of 5,000 for and blew them all out for the one show. Okay. Good to know. How's everybody feeling? Let's do personal advice because people are going to want money. Adam Page wants money. I mean, after that performance you put on, have a little raise-a-doodle. Sure. There you are. Oh, you're all busted up. Get you a little raise-a-doodle. There you go. Thanks for your help. Personal advice. I'm going to keep doing this. Drew McIntyre also took a big L, but looked great in loss. So, after a big win or a big loss, it seems like people want money. See that thing I did that people paid attention to? Pay me. You got it. More personal advice. Always going to the trust. Dragon Rojo Jr., who was left off the last show. Where you at, buddy? Way down here. Oh, I should have just done up. Okay, how much are you making? A pittance. No problem. Save that. Save after every important move. Okay. More personal advice. Liger wants more money now that he's a champion. No problem. Consultation. Juchen Liger with that shiny new belt. Woof, already making a pretty penny. Continuing to do so. I'm so glad they don't talk to each other, all the talent. We're all good? Everyone's good? Okay. Let's save again just cuz. Alright, so I don't need to, but I'm going to take a look at what all our friends did with our talent that we lent them. Okay, so without spoiling what I'm about to book in month 2, let me see if I can bring up the notepad. Boink. Okay, there it is. So we already know what CM Punk did. He won the friggin' tag belts. Let's see who he beat to get there. Records and help, promotion stats, Big Japan, and then we can do and see that. Oh, they used both of them at least. Kazuki Hashimoto fought Raven. Raven won, so that's pretty good. At least they used both of the people. And in the main event, Shunma and Drew Parker lost the tag belts to Daisuke Sekimoto and CM Punk. They didn't even use Hollywood Hogan on the show, and he's their biggest star. Oops. Okay, so that was CM Punk. Oh, geez, was I? Notepad was in the way for all of that. All right, hang on. There, now everyone can look. There we go. So now you can see that Kazuki Hashimoto fought Raven, and then they used Punk in the main event there to win the tag belts. Rey Mysterio dislocated his knees, like, yeah, for really reals? That wouldn't surprise me. He's had so many knee surgeries. Also, he's had, like, stem cells put in there, tons of stuff to try to prolong his career. Poor dude. Okay, so that takes care of CM Punk and Raven. And then we put this back up. I guess I don't need to show you. I can just go to the promotional consideration paid for by the following. Oh, the promotional information. We sent Kurt Angle to Ring of Honor. Let's see if they did anything with him. Second match, they put him in the second match against Shane Taylor, and Kurt Angle just whooped him, I'm sure. If it was only 57, that was probably a decisive victory for Kurt Angle. Now, here's where we kicked open the forbidden door. As you can see, we are friendly. Normal now with CMLL. We are friendly with AAA, and we were staying away from CMLL because of like the real life drama that exists between these lucha promotions. But we are friendly with everybody else that exists in the world, so we're also going to try to get friendly with CMLL because to heck with it. So we sent them Bret Hart and Rey Fenix. So let's see what they did with those two. Rey Fenix against Bret Hart. Mwah! Magnifique, perfect usage. You literally brought them in for a GWA match, and it was a stinker. Okay. That's crazy. Bret Hart had a terrible match with Rey Fenix. I don't believe you. And then we sent Steve Austin to the WWE to do some promotional work for his title match that's coming up. So let's go see if I can find if they put him in a huge match with R-Truth, and again, based on the percentage of match, Steve Austin whooped his butt. So they gave him a squash match against R-Truth. All right. I mean, I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, okay. No wonder we are gaining ground on all these promotions. What silly booking decisions you make. Okay, so speaking of silly booking decisions, I have to, before I book our event, I have to invite at least 2 people because I'm going to try to book a Wayward Championship match. And the reason I'm a little more optimistic this time over previous weeks, let me just save just because, is that I have overwritten LA Knight and Minoru Suzuki with newer versions of each of those edits. So I'm crossing my fingers that also might mean they might be more likely to do business, or I don't know. We'll find out. We shall find out immediately as I'm about to try it with Suzuki. I always forget if I saved. I'm sure I did, but I always just can't help it before I do any old thing. Okay, Free Agent Japan, Minoru Suzuki. Okay, they're freelance, so I hope they're fans. Same thing, not returning our calls, huh? Okay, everybody gets 3 strikes, so I'm going to 3-strike Suzuki and LA Knight. And if I can't get either of them, I'm going to try, I guess, pulling in the Big Japan people. See if I can do that other tag match. And yes, thank you, Great Lord Suzuki, for popularizing the Gotch-style piledriver in AEW. Formerly the Cradle piledriver when Jerry Lynn used to do it. But good gracious. All right, back to event, back to invite. Are you sure? Just pick up the phone. All you gotta do is pick up the phone. Okay, I'm gonna try once more. I'm not optimistic at all, but I'm gonna try once more. Just cause. No, Juice, that's awesome. Like, you coming back into wrestling after being a lapsed fan for what, like 15 years probably? Like maybe even more? At least 15. Like that's a decade and a half of like wrestling in general churning up moves, combinations, counters, so on and so forth. So it's almost like seeing it with fresh eyes. I mean, I'm imagining, obviously. I mean, you tell me, is it like seeing it with fresh eyes? Leaps and bounds. Like, WWE, in terms of production, are overproducing to the point where, like, they don't really need to invest in how their shows look. They're just, like, making up crap to, like, try to add more razzle-dazzle to the shows where they don't need it. Like, they're just, I don't know, it's becoming less and less authentic. But the in-ring quality of wrestling that is actually down to the in-ring performers is ridiculous, and has been because of the basically because of how the industry has had to adapt, since there was only like one major international promotion, or major North American promotion for a while. So all of the rest of wrestling had to get a lot more interesting and fun to draw any money whatsoever. And we're seeing like how 20 years of independent wrestling has bubbled up into another national promotion, which is pretty dope, I think. Anyway, one last kick at the can. That is Minoru Suzuki. Pick up your phone, bro. It's not like we're butt dialing you here. All right, I'm giving up. But a clean slate, just in case. Like, everyone has the energy of the Hardy Boys Christian Edge matches or RBD. Yeah, Mysterio. Yeah, everyone is like so much more athletic overall, and are just comboing that into like, let's just go for the most part. Yeah, I see. I totally get what you mean. Like the pacing and pacing of matches for sure is like night and day. I'm watching a lot of old stuff. Like I'm at the end of 90 going into 91, and I'm still watching most of the shows on 1.5 speed because I can't do just guys clubbing each other for like 5 minutes of a match, unless it's like, all right, a little pep in the step. Let's go. Anyway. Okay, so Suzuki didn't work out. We're gonna go to the North American free agents and bother LA Knight, who is the NXT champion that has been sitting in the North American free agent pool forever. Here we go. Don't agree with our wrestling style. That's exactly the problem that Nick Jackson had the first couple of times. Yeah, it's because like wrestling is sort of, and maybe this is weird of me to say, but it's sort of like they're finally able to match the pacing of like choreographed like action movie fight scenes that they take that they spend like weeks planning out and stuff like that, but they get to do everything in real time with another participant that's also doing their end of things in real time. And then you know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. I do agree in some instances where things could be sold more, like certain larger moves should be sold more, but tomato, like, as long as it doesn't get to Dragon Gate levels, where Dragon Gate I had to stop watching because it's literally people were having to hit like a string of a half dozen signature / finishers in a row before getting a 3 count. Like just blam, 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 blam. Go for the pin, 1, 2, 3, finally, because nothing else was putting people down. And that's kind of their style. It was a little too much. All right, we're gonna try one more time. Are you sure you want to get on this gravy train? That's apparently the name of your finishing move. The gravy train. You're not even that expensive. Come on down to the best promotion in the world, LA Knight. You know that we're just bringing you here to drop the NXT title, but at least be a sport about it. I'm gonna try one more time. These are new edits. I was hoping they would perhaps like tweak the psychology of what their reactions might be to us, but so far no good. One last chance to get LA Knight on board here, and then I'm going to start scouting Big Japan. Well, if I'm doing Big Japan, I'm going to try to find Hollywood Hogan a partner, and they can fight CM Punk and whomever. Okay, Punk I already had booked somewhere else, though. I can figure it out. LA Knight, last kick at this can. Nope. Okay, out you go. Now, Daisuke Sakimoto. We're not even friendly with Big Japan yet, so this is a risk. As I think on it now. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna keep doing it, but okay. Let's try. Where are you at? Big Japan. See? Hollywood Hogan. Ridiculous. Do him in like Quiet Storm. It'd be hilarious. Okay. Where's my dude? Daisuke Sakimoto. The Muscle Monster. That's a nice nickname. You want to come? So pricey. Okay, but we have. Maybe if I just send Punk down there. Maybe I'll do that instead. Okay, that's my plan. I'm gonna send Punk down there. See what that does. I think so. I don't know what. Pac seems to have a lot of issues. I don't know if it's him like having issues staying in the country on his work visa or something, especially with like international travel and, you know, the pandemic and da-da-da-da-da. Like, I think there's a lot of paperwork issues that were keeping Pac off of TV for a while. And now since they have done like another injury angle, I don't know if he's having trouble sorting that stuff out or if there's actual like physical injuries happening now that he needs to rehab from. But I hope he gets back on TV soon. Like, I want him in there mixing it up with everybody, singles or tag. But yeah, him coming back in to team with Penta for a while would be fun. Penta splitting off and just doing singles matches as he's trying to fend off like Andrade or something would still be dope. Lots of ways you can go. Have him package pile drive Marco Stunt because he's mad that he lost the belts to the Jurassic Express or something. Anywho, okay, so Sekimoto said no. I'm just gonna send CM Punk to Big Japan then. That's gonna be my move, and which also means I have to replace CM Punk, where I have him in a tag match booked. I also don't think I have a Wayward Champion match this time then. Hang on. Nope. Sakuraba, Suzuki, and LA Knight. I didn't even try Sakuraba. I'll try. I will try Sakuraba. Do I want to save? Do I want to save? Event. Invite. Okay. Let me just double check. The Daisuke said no. Okay, so this is a fresh one. I'm gonna try to send CM Punk there and bring in. Sorry, just double checking my text file here. Where are you at? Kazushi Sakuraba, who has the Noah belt, but match style stoic means his style of pro wrestling is UFC. So I have zero hope that this will work. He's another guy that's like, your wrestling style is crap compared to me, blah, 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 never. I'll never work for you. Yeah, they don't agree with our wrestling style, so. Might only be a 9-match card. I can't get Sakuraba. I don't have any other Wayward Champions that I can, or that I'm aware of, that I can just throw out there. What I might do instead is just try to book a championship match for another promotion. Like, I might just straight up do that. Hang on. Let me check records. Let me go down to the title belts. Let's see who that... Alright, let's see if I can get WWE Champion Bobby Lashley and a contender on our show. For funds, let's see if we can do that for funsies. Invite from the WWE. Where are you? These are alphabetized, aren't they? No. Hang on. This is everybody in the WWE. Is Bobby Lashley not employed by your company anymore? Oh, look at that. Hang on. We might have a brand new... hang on. I gotta go look at all these free agents. Bobby Lashley, the WWE champion, does not work for the WWE currently. Okay, that's a big one. Oh my, oh my. Okay, so Bobby Lashley, I gotta write this down in my Wayward Champ section, is in USA, and they have the WWE title. We're going to try to get Bobby Lashley here to get them their belt back. My word. Our good friends, the WWE, need some help. Bobby Lashley's got the Smoking Skull belt. Wowzers. All right. Ba-blam. Okay. All right. Got him on the line. Now we got to reel him in with our new best pals, the WWE. Who do we want to face Bobby Lashley out of all these folks? Jeez. I'd go Kevin Owens, who's using a stunner right now, huh? That's interesting. I wouldn't mind Kofi in there. AJ we've already seen a lot of because he was on our roster last year. Yeah, right? I don't know. I don't remember reading that release. Sometimes people walk away because there's not a lot of like, once you sign somewhere, unless you quit or are fired, the contracts just last forever. So yeah, I didn't actually remember seeing that Bobby left. I certainly didn't know that he was champion at the time. Malachi, huh? B+, or B+B. Their stats are going to go up if they're in a GWA ring, which is another thing. We also saw a lot of Malachi last year being in our Fed. If his stats were better, it would be hilarious. Bobby Lashley against Dominic Mysterio. Your dad left this promotion or didn't even sign with it. Your dad doesn't believe in this promotion. Sign somewhere else. Oh no, Ruby Riot's not with them anymore. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Kevin Owens if they'll come in. Let's do it. All right. So we got our Wayward Champion match is Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens for the WWE title. My word. Okay, so Kevin Owens versus. Now I'm not gonna have like a board for this made up, but I do have this made up for. Hang on. Back to the event center really quick, so I can announce now the 3 top February title matches you're about to see. Starting with, of course, we've already previously announced the Hall of Fame Championship will be on the line as Bret the Hitman Hart looks to unseat the new champion William Regal, and we now know that the tag titles will be on the line as Orton and Moxley are going to face the champion Doldrums, then they being Rey Fenix and Yuji Hino. Rey Fenix back in action after suffering an injury. And in the main event, the one we're all waiting for, Mitsuharu Misawa putting the GWA World title on the line against Steve Austin. That's all to come in this broadcast. Now let's get back to the boardroom here. Okay, so I've invited some folk. I have penciled them in to our big bad broadcast. I'm going to preemptively set. I'm going to pencil in that CM Punk is going to Big Japan. Fingers crossed they book another tag title match like immediately. And I'm going to book the rest of this. He was meant to be a tag team partner of someone, but I'm going to see who's left to fill their spot. All right, starting with the title matches, we're also going to the 65,000 seat arena. We're going to leave it at $20 to see if we can sell this thing out for $20 with a 10-match super show. Oh, let me just, do match style and stuff to make sure that they're all the same all the way through. Wunderbar. Hang on. Did those change? No. Okay. Just make sure the criticals didn't change either. Title match. Mitsuharu Misawa, Steve Austin. That's your main event. Okay. Boom. See, you can see he has in his possession one of the 3 GWA Trios Championship belts. This is him cashing in his championship opportunity from winning that tournament. The third of 3 cash-ins. The other 2 were completely successful, so we'll see how this one goes. Another title match here. Hino and Phoenix defending, as we said, against Moxley and Orton. Boink, boink. There we go. Winning their way into that match in our last show. And then, of course, our third title match here, the Hall of Fame Championship on the line. Boink. William Regal against Bret Hart. Let's go back to the standard. The leader of the standard. I can't not use the speckles. Love it. All right. Those are our 3 major title matches. From there, I had, what did I have underneath them? I had a tag match where we had some former champions in action here as the Yard Dogs of Bill Bullock and Dave Mastiff. Sure. Would be taking on the Street Profits. Back in action. Dawkins and Ford. First time facing each other since they faced one another for the GWA tag belts, I believe. And I'm just talking crap at the moment. I think that's how that worked. Yes, I just double checked my title section on in my text file here. Correct! I know my own history a little bit. Okay, now we had a friend in from All Japan, if I recall correctly. Dylan James is coming in from All Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah, that's him, all right. That's the current look. That's the last look I saw him with. Beard and a top knot. So we're going to put him against, back in singles competition, now that he has shaken off the AEW tag belt, Kenta Kobashi against Dylan James in a singles match. We already got 31,000. We're about halfway through. Okay, this was just a sort of... Wait, did I put these wrong? Oh, I did. That's funny. Bill and Dave are actually facing another tag team. So we're going to go ahead and put you up here. The reason for it is that these two are junior heavyweight wrestlers and their opponents are also junior heavyweight wrestlers. And we're going to do a slightly larger team against Dawkins and Ford. Only slightly. As you see, representing the Heartbreakers, Dragon Rojo Jr., that's right, and El Tejano Jr., the Junior Achievers, who are the inaugural GWA Tag Team Champions, so it's still a battle of former tag team title holders. The Yard Dogs being, of course, another of only a handful of tag team champions, the belt that we introduced within the past couple of years of our Fed's existence. So, they are facing, the Yard Dogs that is, are actually going to be facing the Odd Couple team of Becky Lynch and Yohei. Why? Because let's put Becky Lynch in a darker outfit so she might just better. Sure, she can wear the man t-shirt. Sure. All right, we got 4 more matches to book here. Now, is this where we're putting our Wayward Champ match? Nope, we have a singles match to come first. As promised, or as teased in that 6-person tag team action at the last show. Who did we have booked? Oh, they're not under the normal heels. They're under the Heartbreakers because they are the leader of the Heartbreakers, Shawn Michaels, against another faction member here, Kazuchika Okada, representing the Squared Circle K. Okada Michaels one-on-one. And here is where we have another title match. Boink. For the WWE title. Bobby Lashley against Kevin Owens, and we're trying to help the WWE get their belt back, which is awesome. I mean, if we can pull it off, that's awesome. Okay, the prize fighter from Canada. Oh, that looks good. Let's put him in... Oh, NXT, SmackDown, Raw. That's a little too ornate. Like, why is he all red, white, and blue? The guy's from Montreal. Or, sorry, he's from Maryville, Quebec, Canada. I don't, like, his trust is D. If he gets the title and then quits the promotion, that's not my fault. But he's repping SmackDown, so we're going to put him in blue. There, we filled the thing, and we have 2 more matches to go. So, we're going to open up with some 6-person tag team action. On this side of things, I had scheduled, or I had penciled in, I don't know why, but win or lose, I had Liger. And the loser of the #1 contender tag match. So that's going to be Liger and the Mad Buds, I believe. Yeah, that's Liger and the Mad Buds. Buddy Murphy and Mad Polly. And their opponents were going to be the remainder of the standard. So their opponents were going to be, or are going to be, because it's happening, Will Hobbs, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Brody Lee. Boom. Okay. And that left a tag team contest here to happen in this second slot, where Adam Page is pretty busted up, but I still want to put him in there because he's got a tag team partner with Kurt Angle, and they're going to face The Undertaker and someone. So the Page Undertaker feud is continuing. It's a little backwards because we're going back to a tag match now, but that's to try to like protect them a little bit, as it's going to be Taker and somebody. Ooh, it's going to be Taker and Raven. Done. I know they're not technically affiliated, as Raven is affiliated with the Doldrums, but yeah, that feels right. That feels good. Can I go up to $40? 50,000 of a 65,000 seater at 40. Okay, that's plus 25. So that's actually 75,000 people in a 65,000 seater for $20. So I'm cool with that. Our expenses are covered in our broadcasting and, advertising on the canvas and shiz. Wow, I don't know why my brain blanked on all that. But that's it. We've done it. We have booked our 10-match super show. We have sold out the 65,000 seat arena. We're going to make bank on this sucker. It's going to be a hoot. Yeah. WWE heavyweight title match. And midway, not even an intermission. Like the match before intermission here would be Lynch and Yohei versus the Yard Dogs, which means nothing. But we're doing it anyway. In fact, let me swap these two tag matches. That feels better. It didn't change attendance one way or the other, but it just feels a little better building a show. And then coming out of intermission, we'd start with this singles match. Kenta Kobashi looking to get back in the singles ranking against the visiting Dylan James from All Japan. Got some tag team action for some tag team rankings, as we also have a tag team title match later, Hall of Fame title match, and then the big one. Feeling pretty good about this show. Just got to clear my throat. Okay. So we have 65,000 people. Hang on. To worry about. We've already done expansions for this month. Let's go ahead and produce some merch then. 10,000 of these. 10,000 of these. 10,000 of these. Ooh, that's a lot. But they keep. It's not like DVDs are going to go bad. And then 5,000 snacks for the kiddos. See, none of these are going to expire. I know that we have a lot of them. We'll probably blast out of these. I don't know about these two. I'm okay with having some left over from the $10,000 categories, or 10,000 stock categories. We'll probably sell out of the t-shirts. But they got lots of other things they can buy if they so desire. And then our sponsor contracts, $148,000 or 30 cents, $148,300. And then our broadcast contract, cool $500,000. What are our conditions, if any? Becky Lynch has to work here, otherwise we lose our main sponsor. That's hilarious. And then the rest of them are, they all say average match evaluation. I have to do a 50% or higher show, like overall. So can't fire Becky Lynch. That's it. Pretty much. No problem. If she quits, we're in trouble. She's going to take that sponsorship with her. But as far as I know, that's not happening. Okay, so we booked everything. We are loaning CM Punk to Big Japan, as we are now also friendly with them. Hey, Punk, can you go drop this belt back, please? Okay, so we've sent them back. Back to where they once belonged. We're sending them back. Raven is teaming with The Undertaker. And I'm going to save that. Who should I send to CMLL? Darby? No. No, I don't want to send Delia. He's great and all, but let me send Kenny Omega to CMLL. Ah! We're going to back that up. It's a big, fine promotion, so we're going to back that thing up. Interesting. They have no interest in working with us. They worked with us last month. Let's try again. Okay, back to CMLL. Just trying to be friends. How about Flamita? Flamita. Off to CMLL. I'm just writing it down so I know to double check afterwards and see what they did with them. Okay, I'm going to try to send one more to CMLL, and then that'll be it, because we're using most of our roster already. I just want to tip the scales to friendly so bad. How about Muto? All right, backing up. One last chance here. Like, I'm not technically disqualifying Muto or Kenny Omega from being chosen again, but I'm gonna see if maybe they want somebody else first. And if not, I'll try those other two one more time. I don't think it harms you if they reject. Like, I don't think it harms your relationship if they're like, no thanks, because at least you're trying, you know what I mean? No, I think it's gonna be Muto or Omega are your only really good choices here. All right, let's try Muto again. I'm literally going to try anybody until you take somebody here. There we go. They wised up. And we're like, fine. I'll take Keiji Muto. So Muto and Flamita are in CMLL. Somewhat continuing the Squared Circle K Heartbreakers feud, we'll say. And then CM Punk is off to Big Japan. Fingers crossed that he loses the tag team title belt back. But who knows. Okay. I think we've done everything we're going to do. Let me check, actually. Scouting. Scouting. Let's do Europe. They said they've preferred, but I guess I could technically send them to do anything, like even if it's out of their comfort zone. So I'm going to try. Kings Road and Showman. Kings Road out of America sounds great. That's fine. Kings Road's close enough to strong that we should be okay. Yeah, I'm looking for a little more lucha, just because it's your niche. Okay, off they go to scout. I'm thinking after this show, I'm gonna reassess our finances. And actually, let me check here. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get, be around the $25 million mark before I invest about 5 into the gym, so I still have 20 left over. We'll see what we make after this super show and go from there. But gym expansion soon, and we're going to be working on, I think our junior heavy division is at like 13 right now. I'm going to try to get that up to like 16, 18, somewhere like that. But we are ready. We are ready to proceed. Everybody cross their fingers that everybody that we booked shows up for work. Here we go. Let me put this notepad up once again. Baka! So we're just going to double check that this is what we have laid out before us. Starting off with trios action, the standard of Brody Lee, Mike Bailey, and Will Hobbs against Juchen Liger and the Mad Buds, Buddy Murphy and Mad Pauly. And then we have some tag team action as Hangman Adam Page and Kurt Angle are taking on Raven and Undertaker. Page and Taker continuing their feud. And then we're bringing in Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens to hopefully get the WWE title back to the WWE. And some singles dream match action. Kazuchika Okada versus Shawn Michaels. Sweet Chin Music versus Rainmaker. A bit of strange bedfellow tag team match here as Becky Lynch and Yohei are tag teaming against the regular team of Bill Bullock and Dave Mastiff, the Yard Dogs. And then in singles action, Kenta Kobashi against our friend from All Japan, Dylan James. The Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, are taking on the Junior Achievers, Dragon Rojo Jr. and El Tejano Jr., they themselves representing the Heartbreakers. Speaking of Hearts, Bret Hart is going to be facing William Regal for the Hall of Fame Championship, followed by Orton and Moxley. Randy Orton and John Moxley versus Yuji Hino and Rey Fenix for the GWA Tag Team belts, Yuji Hino and Rey Fenix representing the Doldrums. And in our hotly anticipated main event, the GWA World Championship on the line, Steve Austin against champion Mitsuharu Misawa. Hot diggity dang. That should be a good show that we're about to present to you. So let me get the notepad out of the way. Everybody cross your fingers that everyone shows up for work. I'm going to save it again. Not that it means anything. Here we go. Everybody doing their job like they're supposed to. Everybody doing yeah! Everybody showed up for work. Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, professionals. Good stuff. Oh, I always worry when you bring in outside people, right? I mean, Dylan James volunteered to show up, but that wasn't a guarantee that they would actually like follow through. That was still up in the air. Everybody's here. All 10 matches are present. I'm gonna get down to the ring right away because we just noticed we are 2 hours into the broadcast and we have 10 matches to bring you. So let me get myself out of the way. And let's get down for some in-ring action, trios action, standard versus Liger and the Mad Buds. As I dump my controller on my desk, won't need it. In front of 65,000 strong, and we're happy to have you with us as well. Mr. Bigfoot calling for the bell, and we are underway with this gigantic February event. In my initial notes for the GWA, I had the February event eventually evolving into a one-night deathmatch tournament called Crown of Thorns that would have crowned a singles contender to one of our major championships. But that has been replaced with the Trios Tourney of Terror that we're running every October, where obviously 3 people get title opportunities coming out of that tournament. So I got to think of a new name for the February event that we can eventually morph this into. Will Hobbs going to work on Juchen Thunder Liger, who just last month was crowned the Legends Junior Champion here in the GWA. A new title that we're going to hold and defend proudly from here on out. Got to do some title research off air later and find out who has held the belt before our very own Juchen Thunder Liger. Obviously, Tetsuhitsu Takaiwa, the former champion. But before that, the legacy and lineage of the title eludes me. So I'm going to do a little edumacation. And then we'll try to figure out how to give Juchen Liger the best quality of competition for that belt, much like we have taken the Hall of Fame championship and tried to pit legit Hall of Famers against one another for it as much as we can. In some cases, we choose those that consider themselves Hall of Famers, even though they are currently quite active in their careers. I'm thinking, of course, of Kenny Omega, the former champion, and to a lesser extent, Hangman Adam Page, who he himself was a former, although shortly tenured, a former Hall of Fame champion in his own right. Most people would agree that that belt really came into prominence with The Undertaker's run with it, sort of raising it to being the secondary heavyweight singles championship here in the GWA. As Brody Lee and Buddy Murphy slugging it out here. I keep trying not to say Buddy Lee because Buddy Lee Parker is obviously a well-known wrestling personality. Low-key big hog, as Tony Schiavone might say on his podcast. Big backdrop. Big back body drop. From Brody Lee to Buddy. Brody and Buddy battling in this bout. Buddy smartly making a tag out to his long-term tag team partner, his friend with no end, Mad Polly. The other half of the Mad Buds, here teaming with Liger for the first time. I neglected to put Liger in his all-black gear. That would have matched better, but that's okay. As we see Brody Lee tagging out to Speedball Mike Bailey, coming soon to an Impact Wrestling program near you in the really real world. Another fine Canadian independent wrestling talent, going to get some national and international exposure as a result of that contract. Quite happy for him. Former Capital City Championship Combat champion, defeating Kevin Steen, now known as Kevin Owens, for the honor, in C4 Wrestling out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Going to work, likes to utilize those rapid fire kicks. Some might deem him a master of karate and friendship for everyone. Back and forth he goes, left and right, hitting that midsection, trying to steal the air from Mad Polly. Not a bad strategy on the big man. Attacking his cardio game. wailing away with deadly efficiency his speedball, but gets called back to his corner by Brody Lee, who wants some action. That allows Mad Polly to get Juchen Thunder Liger tagged into the match, the Legends Junior Champion. Oh, Shate palm strike into the beard of Brody Lee. Sure, he got a meaty handful of chin as well. Brody able to thwart the Liger bomb attempt. Liger ducking the clothesline. Doesn't avoid the back body drop, does Liger. Both men jockeying for position, looking for a big move. Big Liger bomb to Brody Lee. Will Hobbs saving the matchup. Oh, Buddy Murphy making him pay with a powerbomb, spiral bomb combination to the powerhouse Will Hobbs. Man, I mean, I managed to turn on timestamps in like everything that Twitch does except for the Twitch app, like that I actually need to use to monitor chat whilst I'm streaming. But if I ever got a second monitor, I now know how to have the timestamps turned on. So close. It's like the one thing I'm missing from this app that would make it perfect for monitoring, such as it is on my Google Nexus 7. As now Mike Bailey and Buddy Murphy trading blows. Buddy Murphy getting the bit of the better of that with those punches, but still takes a lot out of you getting those repeated kicks, even if you're getting kicked in the six-pack. Might be grateful for a little more padding after too many of those. Buddy Murphy with that torpedo across the ring. Saw that in his last matchup. Mike Bailey replies with a one-winged angel. Buddy Murphy kicks out. I might change his moveset a little bit to eliminate that, since Kenny Omega already works for us. I'm not saying he doesn't do the one-winged angel. I just don't know that he necessarily... I don't know that he necessarily does. I don't remember him doing it. He might do something similar, and that's the closest move they have. Have to do a little research. Perhaps a little create a move download in my future. As Will Hobbs now trying to establish and exert himself over the Mishmash team with the Mad Buds. And Juchen Liger. It's Hobbs versus Buds. Meanwhile, in the ring, Liger getting turned inside out. Oh, power bombs Brody Lee. Juchen Liger with newfound confidence after winning that legendary junior title. Oh my gosh. Oh, top rope power slam by Brody Lee and Mike Bailey. Meanwhile, outside the ring, the Mad Buds working over Will Hobbs. This will continue until Will Hobbs gets back in the ring. No countouts or DQs. Hobbs rolls back inside. Both Hobbs and Liger the worse for wear now. Both on the receiving end of some dangerous double team offense, both inside and outside the ring. Able to tag up fresh on each side. Mad Polly v Brody Lee. Mad Polly asserting himself here. That's what I meant, not exerting. Asserting himself. Into the Polly Buster! Spikes him and he busts him open! I don't know how, but he did! Brody Lee kicking out, but bleeding profusely. I can't quite see from where. Hang on, it might be Polly. Polly busted himself open on that Polly Buster? Mike Bailey and he gets Mad Polly now, and yes, that seems to be the case. You can see the blood pooling beneath Mad Polly, who busted himself open, hitting a Polly Buster. Now eating a shooting star press, but too close to the ropes. Really in 8 of Mike Bailey. Mad Polly a bit dazed here. May have knocked himself for a loop. Oh my God, shooting star, double knees to the chest, into the cover. Liger saves the matchup. I forget what Bailey calls that, but that's his finish. The shooting star double knee press off the top to the chest. Squeezing your guts out like a tube of toothpaste. But Liger saving the matchup for his squad. As you can see the blood pooling underneath Mad Polly there. Don't worry, the canvas absorbs the blood and it makes the matches better. Bailey with a go behind, Liger fights him off. Quick tag out to Will Hobbs. Definitely going to give the power advantage to the standard in this one with Will Hobbs and Brody Lee on their side. Hang on, speaking of, Oklahoma Stampede all the way across the ring by Hobbs and into the cover. Wrong part of town though, and Buddy Murphy saves the match. Another big slam by Hobbs. Hang on, Liger. Oh, countered. Nice counter to the powerbomb. But once again, Buddy Murphy in there to save the matchup. Liger must be grateful to be paired with the Mad Buds here. Some surprisingly good chemistry between the three of them. Nice tuck underneath by Hobbs. Sends Polly off. Huge clothesline drops the big man. Bailey tagged back in. You can see the blood continuing to pour from that cut of Mad Polly. We're going to get him some medical help after the matchup. State regulations prevent us from stopping the contest due to blood loss. He's just free to bleed until the match is over. Polly clubbering away. Trying to get back on even footing here. Might be best served to tag out and recover on the apron, but that's not Mad Polly's style. The former opening match warrior, current opening match warrior since he's in an opening contest. Oh, another set of shooting star double knees, this time to the back of Polly. Rolls him too close to the ropes on the cover though. And Polly able to escape to the corner. In comes Juchen Liger, the reigning Legends Junior champion. Bailey with those kicks for the midsection in rapid succession. Tagging out to Brody Lee, who continues to work on the torso of Liger. Nice gut wrench into the Dr. Bomb. 2 and Murphy again saving the matchup for his squad. A second Dr. Bomb to Liger. 2. Liger escapes. Both of his teammates would have had to tag up before they were legal to help him. That was all done under Liger's own power. Center of the ring, Liger bomb on Brody. 2, Bailey saves the match. Speedball there just in the nick of time. Liger says this is it. Tags out to Polly. Back and forth they go, Mad Polly and Brody Lee. In this year opening contest, I just see now that our stream seems to have dipped for a second. Once again, and it seems to be doing this to me every night, all of my software says, haven't dropped a frame, haven't lost connection, everything's great. And then for a fraction of a second, the Twitch stream goes down and has to restart. So my apologies, but my Twitch VODs will continue to be in 2 parts. Whereas on the YouTube, they will be in 1 cohesive video. Things are breaking down here as Mad Polly's being isolated on the floor. Meanwhile, powerhouse Will Hobbs at the mercy of Buddy Murphy and Liger inside the ring. Double powerbomb to Polly on the floor. Enziguri to Will Hobbs. Hobbs trying to fight his way free. Nothing doing as he gets DDT'd. Meanwhile, Polly on the floor with a dragon suplex there before he eats a super kick from Brody Lee. Almost too much action to call. Polly rolls back into the ring, though. Tags out to Buddy Murphy. Murphy and Hobbs are legal. I'm saying that more for me than for anyone else. Another DDT off the shoulder is in the moveset. That's called the Canadian DDT. I don't know who to credit that to. But I can credit Mike Bailey with saving the matchup once again. For his partner, Will Hobbs here. Back to the corner. Tagging in Speedball. Excellent teamwork from both of these squads. Oh, man. An excellent individual effort by Buddy Murphy. Oh! Brody Lee not in time. And Speedball Mike Bailey on the strength, or rather the weakness to that Canadian DDT, as they call it, on the receiving end of the pin from Buddy Murphy. Juchen, Liger, and the Mad Buds picking up a big win over the Standard. As I adjust my text file, so that was Buddy Murphy and Mike Bailey? Yeah, Mike Bailey. Text file. And then what else we got? 94, that's a good start. That's a good start. Anything over 80 is a successful show and the crowd is happy. But the higher I can get this, the better. See, there it is. Canadian DDT. I don't know who does that. Because it starts with a Canadian backbreaker, which is the over-the-shoulder backbreaker. That's why. Because it starts with an over-the-shoulder Canadian backbreaker, and he flips him to the opposite shoulder, and as he does so, he turns and drops him into a DDT. I get that now. Okay. Worked my way through that with wrestling logic. All right, there is not much logic to the pairing of Becky Lynch and Yohei, I must admit. But they are facing a veteran team in Bill Bullock and Dave Mastiff, the Yard Dogs, former GWA Tag Team Champions. Let's see how they fare against the new pairing of Becky Lynch and Yohei. Hoya! Mr. Bigfoot calling for the bell once again, and we are underway. Becky Lynch, the red hair and the man t-shirt, in there against Bill Bullock in the long green and black tights. There you see Yohei on the apron for Becky Lynch in the blue corner. And there you see the feet of Dave Mastiff in the red corner. The other half of the Yard Dogs and partner to convict Bill Bullock is Big Dave Mastiff. Shown there in full for the first time. Nice forearm shot there by Becky Lynch. And no, do not adjust your sets. The way textures work in this game is that they only have the one, right? So it just reverses itself if you're on the left or the right side. So her shirt is only correct depending on if she's standing on, in this case, the red side of the ring. The red corner side of the ring, that is. Fresh tags on both sides as Big Dave Mastiff in there in the singlet, locking on the Regal stretch to Yohei. Shout out to William Regal. We're going to see them in action later defending the Hall of Fame Championship against Bret the Hitman Hart, which should be a real humdinger. You could hear the effort that Dave Mastiff puts into each and every strike. See, he's trying to establish dominance over Yohei, a rather unorthodox competitor we don't know too much about. One of the more recent signees in the GWA Junior Heavyweight Division has yet to firmly establish themselves in title contention. But now that we have two belts to speak of in the junior ranks, perhaps more title opportunities await a Yohei. Looking to climb the ranks in singles and tag in this one, as all four competitors are junior heavyweights. As we pass the 5-minute mark here, it kind of looks like Dave Mastiff has a silhouette of Bart Simpson's head on the chest of, like on his singlet, on his tum-tum there. I don't know what the symbol is supposed to be. Just calling it as I see it. As now Bill Bullock and Yohei are tagged in for their respective squads. Nice counter there by Yohei. The black and purple. Gets reversed off the ropes, though. Pardon me one moment. There we go. rapid-fire offensive counters between these two gentlemen. Bill Bullock, the longest tenured roster member here in the GWA, came with the promotion when we acquired it, in a manner of speaking. Also the only roster member here in the GWA to not have a real-world wrestling counterpart. They are an entirely fictitious wrestler. All the other 37 wrestlers on our 38-person roster all really exist. I just haven't had the heart to replace Bill Bullock yet. As you can see, Becky Lynch trying to send her tag team partner off. Nothing doing as Yohei quickly made his way into the apron there. Not quite the tag team camaraderie of the Yard Dogs of a Dave Mastiff and a Bill Bullock have Becky Lynch and Yohei, who, to my estimation, tagging for the first time here. A win is a win is a win. So as we said, if a junior competitor pins another junior competitor, they rise the ranks of the junior division, as well as a tag team victory over another tag team will rise you in the tag team division. So a lot on the line here. As we said, all four competitors, junior heavyweights, and the Yard Dogs, they themselves former tag team champions, going to be looking to climb the ranks, get back into title contention against the whomever leaves the tag team title match this evening as champs, be it the challengers Randy Orton and Jon Moxley, or the reigning champions Yuji Hino and the returning Rey Fenix, back in action after a horrifying injury sidelined them for 4 or 5 months. The stomach claw! The stomach claw! Bill Bullock, Yohei may be dead! Somehow Yohei survives! The most deadly move in all of wrestling from years 1981 to 1983 inclusive. Mastered by the convict Bill Bullock. We really should outlaw the move. It's far too dangerous to be in the hands of mortal men. Quite literally. But that stomach claw from Bill Bullock has brought him victory around the world. Somehow Yohei surviving there. Into the disarm her by Becky Lynch. But Bullock into the stomach claw on Lynch. Oh my God, the humanity! Mercifully, Lynch fights free. Back into the disarmer once again. What resilience! Perhaps something under her shirt. She must be wearing like a steel plate under there. That's the only way she could have survived that stomach claw. Becky putting work in against Dave Mastiff here. Repeated shots to the brow. Drops the big man. Hang on. Nicely done. Extra effort on that suplex. Allows Mastiff to get Bullock tagged in. And in comes Yohei. And out goes Bullock thanks to a double suplex. No DQs or countouts outside the ring, as Becky Lynch follows Bullock to the floor and eats a prison plex. Huge prison plex from the convict Bill Bullock, but Becky Lynch is back to her feet and wailing away. Meanwhile, an exploder to Yohei from Mastiff. I'm going to try to keep my eye on both of these fights here. Fight's going to continue this way. Do the legal fighters get back inside? Another legal stretch there by Mastiff to Yohei. I think that's the manhandle, her version of the Uranagi slash rock bottom. Bullock just got Yohei just got brain busted. Has no time for Bill Bullock's shenanigans. Trying to get back into the swing of things is Yohei. Nice snap suplex on the now legal Dave Mastiff. Yohei thinking better of things and tagging in Becky Lynch. Nice double suplex by Yohei and Lynch. Into the cover goes Becky. Yohei playing D. Mastiff kicks it too. Rolls through into a pin attempt, does Becky Lynch, but Bill Bullock there to save the matchup for his Yard Dog partner, Dave Mastiff, at least for now. Momentum seems to be going the way of Lynch and Yohei. Back into the disarmer after 20 minutes. Submissions get deadly. Elbow knocker off the ropes. Some poor timing there. Both Mastiff and Lynch are down. Both Mastiff and Lynch are back up. Lynch going to the top now. Drops the big leg. Bill Bullock saves the matchup again at 2. Quick tag out to the Convict. Mastiff plants Becky Lynch with a huge powerbomb into the stomach claw. Yohei saving Becky Lynch's life, let alone the match there. Rolls through into another variation of an armbar. Got the other leg trapped behind the shoulders there. Oh, wait a minute. Low blow to the ding-a-ling. Fist to the bits. As Becky Lynch tags up again to Yohei. Getting battered in the yard dog corner. As we are 20 minutes and counting in this tag team contest. Match 2 of 10. On this super show. Huge discus lariat by Bill Bullock. Quick tag out to Mastiff. Yohei not aware of it. Now he knows with that punch to the face. Oh, meaty splash off the top. Mastiff's going up for a second. An elbow this time. Dragging Yohei away from the ropes. Sends him right back into the turnbuckle. Yohei escapes. Brainbuster by Dave Mastiff. Can't capitalize though. Yohei fights his way back to his feet, but he's dazed. Nice spin kick there. Oh, Vader attack into the STF. That should do it. Becky Lynch, thankfully, coming to the aid of Yohei. Oh, double underhook into a backbreaker by Mastiff. Yohei with the drop toe. Buys himself the time to tag in Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has had some success in getting the disarmor applied to Dave Mastiff. Could be looking to hit it one more time, lock it in one more time, and perhaps tap him out. Bullock there brilliantly keeping Becky Lynch in the corner of the yard dogs as she gets spiked with a brainbuster and sent to the floor. Another stomach claw on the floor. There's no one to help Becky Lynch. Eventually, Bullock releases the hold, and then a wrist clutch exploder by Mastiff, who's wailing away on Yohei in the ring. And now Becky Lynch has the disarmer on Bullock. That's his claw in hand. Crowd into this one. You can hear them cheering and chanting and clapping away as another stomach claw to Becky Lynch by Bullock. How much more can she take out there? The match will continue until she re-enters the ring. She is the legal fighter for her team. Oh, a huge powerbomb to Yohei in the meantime. Becky's got a chair. She's got till 5 to drop it. Quick tag into Yohei. DDT on Mastiff. What punishment absorbed by both Yohei and Becky Lynch in that last exchange outside the ring. Rolls up Mastiff. Kicks it too. We saw Becky Lynch playing D there. Mastiff with it. Oh, gets rolled up. Powerbomb thwarted. Bullock saves the match. Mastiff says this is it, but Yohei matching him shot for shot. Classic double axe handle by Yohei. Oh no, wrist clutch. Dropping Yohei so we can tag in Bullock. We've passed 30 minutes in this one. Bullock sent across the ring repeatedly by Yohei. Leaning into those forearm shots. But it's just a matter of time if Bullock can get that stomach claw. Rolls him up, but in the wrong part of town. Mastiff Keeps the match rolling. Bullock off the ropes now. Oh, misses the diving clothesline. Yohei scampers out of the way. Smartly done. Becky Lynch in the match now. Into the disarmer! And that'll do it! Lynch and Yohei with the upset of the Yard Dogs! Yeehaw. All right, let's do this. Let's get myself back on camera. So Lynch, just updating my text file, obviously. Huge win, 97, wow, 97%. Heck of a tag match. Becky Lynch tapping out Dave Mastiff after several applications of that disarm her. Oh, sorry, it was Bill Bullock. Never mind. First application of the disarm her. Well, first in-ring application of the disarm her to Bill Bullock. Able to withstand those repeated stomach claws is Becky Lynch. Okay. And that brings us to our first title fight. Kevin Owens and Bobby Lashley are in here. Bobby Lashley apparently walked away from the WWE with their title. So we have brought him and Kevin Owens here. Hopefully Kevin Owens can bring the WWE Championship back to its promotion. If not, maybe we'll keep hiring Bobby to come in. Maybe we can hire Bobby, transfer it to somebody on our roster, then send them to the WWE. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. Anyway, that's assuming Kevin Owens doesn't get the job done today. We'll see how he does right about meow. Funk Soul Brother. Mr. Bigfoot calling for the bell. And we are underway with this WWE title fight. Champion Bobby Lashley in the long black and gold tights. Challenger Kevin Owens in the cut-off t-shirt with the blue and the blue trim on his shorts. More of a business casual look for Kevin Owens as a wrestler. A slightly more comfortable Tommy Dreamer attire. Bobby Lashley, all business. Extensive amateur background. When he got bored of wrestling, went into MMA for funsies, came back to wrestling just as dominant as he left it. Current WWE champion. Kevin Owens, a bit of a mountain to climb here to try to bring that title back to prominence in the promotion it should belong to. Bobby Lashley, currently a United States free agent. Meaning that the title for the biggest promotion in the world, or at least currently in this wrestling landscape, doesn't appear on the WWE's shows. So it is a privilege and an honor for them both to be strolling down the gnarly wrestling aisle tonight. Big spear by Lashley, but Owens right back to his feet. Bobby Lashley's got a number of moves in his arsenal, including that spear, including the Hurt Lock, his version of the full Nelson. Nice delayed suplex, sending the challenger Owens to the floor, and Bobby Lashley is saying, bring him some more competition. Supreme confidence out of the champion in the first 5 minutes of this one, as he is having his way with Kevin Owens here, about to send him back out to the floor for a second time. Bobby Lashley taunts both the crowd and Kevin Owens. Gorilla press slam to Owens there. Easy for me to say. Big spear off the ropes by Lashley. Hooks the leg. 1, 2. Owens just escapes. Kevin's got to get something going here in a big bad way. Powerbomb should be a good start. 2 count and Lashley kicks. Off the ropes. Huge clothesline by the WWE champion. Current free agent Bobby Lashley. Second huge spear into the cover on Owens. Owens once again just escapes. Almost thrown over the ropes there to the floor. Lashley's power on display in the opening 10 minutes almost. Big football tackle. Dropping Owens once more. Standing spear this time. 1, 2. Owens out at 2 this time. Bit of a better kick out. And then back to the Gorilla Press slam goes Bobby Lashley. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Another standing spear into the cover. Every spear he hits, he goes for that leg hook cover. Sensing the end is nigh. Counter there to Owens. It has been all champion in the 9 minutes plus of this matchup. This time pulling Owens away from the ropes first before the cover. Smartly done by Lashley. Just wearing Owens out. Off the ropes. Big clothesline by Owens now. Trying to get back into the swing of things. Trying to shift momentum in his favor. But every time he gets anything started, Lashley is quick to cut him off with another devastating maneuver. Oh, floats over on the suplex to Owens. Nice neck breaker. Sent off the ropes. Big spear by Lashley into the pin. This should do it. 1, 2, 3. Bobby Lashley with a dominant performance. Retains the WWE title, and it remains on a free agent. The Wayward Championship reign continues. Barely passable in terms of the standard of quality we are used to here. That was a squash match, and it was still an 80, still above an 80, so that's better than nothing. But that was a straight up squash match. Holy moly. We're gonna have to find some better competition for Bobby Lashley. He also cost a bajillion dollars to show up here. Like 100 and something, I think. Maybe like 80 something? It was an impressive amount regardless. All right. But that is the first of many title matches today. 3 more to come. Some more singles dream action headed your way as Shawn Michaels is going to go one-on-one with Kazuchika Okada. Why delay that? Let's just get down there and enjoy it. Yeah. Mr. Bigfoot calling for the bell, and here we go. Shawn Michaels in the long, dark tights. Kazuchika Okada in the gold shorts. The low angle in that German suplex for a no count to open us up here. Sweet chin music versus Rainmaker clothesline. Kazuchika Okada representing the Squared Circle K, a faction he belongs to, along with Keith Lee, Kairi Sane, and faction leader Kaiji Muto. Shawn Michaels, meanwhile, the leader of the Heartbreakers stable, consisting of himself, El Tejano Jr., Dragon Rojo Jr., and Flamita. These two on opposite sides of a trios contest, our last event. This singles match spinning out of that, as the GWA matchmakers wanted to see how they would fare, standing eye to eye across the ring from one another with nothing to distract them or no partners. Relying solely on their own merits as professional wrestlers. As we see a 1 count there from Shawn Michaels. Hang on! Neck breaker across the knee from the air raid craft position by Okada. Seeming to be the aggressor of the two in the opening 5 minutes here. Certainly the larger of the two athletes is Okada, who I believe is a legit 6'3". Michaels is like 5'10". Somewhere in there, 5'10", somewhere between 5'10" and 6 feet, I would say. I mean, that doesn't really give you a lot of range, but you know what I'm saying. Nice pancake action. Okada countering.
1, 2.
Into a powerbomb. Almost puts Shawn Michaels out in 5 minutes.
1.
Like Michaels countering with these roll-ups, able to get a 1 count. Things going Okada's way in the opening moments of this contest. If he continues rolling as he is, he might be able to put Shawn Michaels away in under 10. Countering into another power bomb. HBK just escapes. Sent to the floor now with Shawn Michaels. Looking to get out of the starting blocks. Is the Heartbreak Kid. Up against the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada coming after off of a very successful real-life weekend at Wrestle Kingdom. As we mentioned earlier, definitely cemented, if not cemented, definitely showcased his place as the MVP of that promotion. His matches were cannot miss. I'm not saying there weren't other good to great matches across those 2 nights, but you definitely need to see when Okada was in the ring. Also highly recommend that Tanahashi Kenta no disqualification match. Good gracious, they went hard. And it did not look like they had a gimmicked version of any of the normal weapons that you would find in a no DQ match, like trash cans or tables or ladders for that matter. Okada off the top of that elbow drop into the cover. Michaels out at 2. You do not want to give back control to Kazuchika Okada. That is his immediate setup for the Rainmaker. Michaels keeps going back to this backslide again and again. It's not doing him any favors here. Another form of a roll up there at the 10-minute mark. Goes HBK, who I believe is a bit befuddled to this point by the Rainmaker, despite seeing him in action just last month. In a 1v1 contest. It seems like to this point, Kazuchika Okada has Michaels' number, including hitting that sweet shin music to HBK himself. Okada fighting for that Rainmaker. Michaels doing everything in his power to avoid it. Now at the mercy of Kazuchika Okada's cravat as he stares a hole in your soul. Staring right into camera is Okada there on that cravat application. It's pretty funny. Hang on. Drops him into the suplex from the fireman's carry position. Michaels back to his feet but dazed. Gets swept right back to the canvas with that STO. Trying to slow things down now is Michael. Zip. What are you doing? Sends Okada to the floor. What are you doing? Moonsault to the floor by Shawn Michaels. Throwing caution to the wind. They're trying to get back in this matchup. What a move. And now both men are out on the floor where there are no countouts or DQs. Moonsault press off the top to the floor by Shawn Michaels. Big risks there, paid off for him. Trying to get back into this matchup. Oh, just swatting away at Okada as Michaels knows he can get away with it out there. Now just daring Okada to get back into the ring. Sets him up in the corner. Okada tries to counter. Michaels fends him off. Michaels climbs for the sky-high elbow drop. Nails it. Back to his feet and slugging away as Okada, though. Both men going back and forth here. Big boot by Okada settles the argument for the moment. Off the ropes comes the Rainmaker. Diving European uppercut to HBK. Michaels' turn to come off the ropes. Forearm shot into the kip up. Classic Michaels. HBK rolls through on a snap suplex from Okada. Going up top once again to hit that elbow drop. Small to the back this time. Stomping away on it is Michaels. Victim of another vicious neck breaker, though, from Okada. Michaels is climbing that mountain. Getting back to an even footing here. Oh. At least he was before Okada just dropped him. Oh no, here we go. Inverted atomic drop down by Michaels. Back up top. Elbow drop's been working great. Keep it rolling. Nice neck breaker there. Dropped him another suplex by Okada. Looking to position Michaels for that Rainmaker. Oh, low angle German this time. Michaels was able to grab the bottom rope with his hand. Takes some time to pose for the crowd, says this is it. Haven't seen Michaels hit the sweet chin music yet. We've seen Okada hit it on him. Nor have we seen a Rainmaker, even an attempt, a proper attempt. Has been countered every time. Back and forth they go, move for move. Neither men with the advantage, I could say now. Hang on. Okada thinking big here, misses! Misses that backsplash in the corner. Inverted atomic drop for Michaels, going back up for the elbow. Been working both sides of the stomach all match. The lower torso has Michaels with that elbow. Oh, double knockdown once again. Both men back up and we reset at the 21-minute mark. As Michaels has Okada in the corner, shoves him off. What's he waiting for? Shoved him into the center of the ring. Pulls Okada back to his feet, off the ropes. Big clothesline from Shawn Michaels. Okada once again has an answer, though. Can't keep either man down for long. Double axe handle from Okada. Still has yet to hit that Rainmaker. Haven't seen a sweet chin music out of Michaels yet either. Headed toward the 25-minute mark. European uppercut to the back of the head of the Heartbreak Kid. Michaels off the ropes with another big clothesline. Could it be two in a row? Yes, indeed. Now he goes back up. Drops the elbow. Off the ropes he sends him. Power slam by Michaels. Can't pull the trigger on sweet chin music, though. For whatever reason. Okada still hanging in there. Another fireman's carry into a suplex. Now off the ropes he comes. Sliding dropkick to the face of Shawn Michaels. Make it two. Right on the Spice Records logo. Rainmaker pose, but Michaels is already up. Michaels is already up. Pile driver. STO by Okada puts him right back down. Low angle, rolling in the drop. Holy crap, rolling German into a Rainmaker clothesline. Two. No, Michaels escapes. Okada with the Rainmaker after the German, beautifully done. Rolling those two moves together. But Michaels able to get out at 2.9. Let's see if he can survive two. He can because he's too close to the ropes. Okada inches away from victory here, and Michaels knows it. Trying to find that elusive fifth gear. Okada's got it. Running out of breath, though. Still able to pull Michaels away from the ropes and into the cover. Got him. What a matchup. Everything I was hoping for between Kazuchika Okada and Shawn Michaels. Big win for Okada. What? There we are. Back on. Heck yeah. First 5-star match of the day. Perfect. Crowd loved it. Rainmaker into pinfall. Done. And that's we got like that to me is Shawn Michaels being like, oh yeah, we had a WWE championship match. Like we put these, I'm following the WWE title match that was so far the worst match on the card. Oh yeah? And then Shawn Michaels and Okada go out and have 100%. Anyway, that seems par for the course for his career. That makes sense to me. And we're not done, because this would be intermission after this fifth match, but our next match is more tag team action. The Hangman Adam Page Undertaker feud is continuing as they have recruited some tag team partners. So it's Kurt Angle and Adam Page against Raven and The Undertaker. Hiya! Mr. Bigfoot about to call for the whistle? Or maybe it's a bell this time. Could be calling for the bell. Excellent. We are underway. Kurt Angle and Raven starting things off. These two are both in TNA together and didn't really cross paths. These two guys are both in the WWF together and didn't really cross paths. But their paths are crossing tonight. Here in the gnarly wrestling aisle, the GWA, the only professional wrestling promotion with 3 silent letters for its acronym. Nice suplex there by Angle, tagging out to Page. Likewise, a tag out to The Undertaker. These two had an epic war at last month's show that Hangman Adam Page came out on the losing side of, but gained a lot of respect in the eyes of the fans and perhaps in the eyes of The Undertaker himself for how much of a beating he was able to survive before eventually being beaten by The Undertaker. And the aggressions between these two individuals continues here tonight as they are slugging it out back and forth. Taker getting the best of it for now. He is, of course, the most prolific and proficient striker in the history of carbon-based life forms. As you can see it on display there. Punches and bunches from the dead man. Page trying to work on the arms. Anything he can do to stop the striking onslaught. Anything he can do to weaken the arms for an attempted choke slams. Oof, the short arm clothesline from Undertaker. Setting him up for a changing of the guard, so to speak, as Raven and Angle are back into the 5-minute mark. All 4 gentlemen have been in the ring at one point or another, testing the other's mettle. So far, so good. Angle and Raven started the match against one another. Angle surprisingly being out-wrestled a little bit here by Raven, who's going to have to bring his A game against both Hangman Adam Page and the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Definitely more known for a brawler and someone that relies on outside interference and shenanigans for a lot of their victories as a Raven, but still holds his head high with that pinfall victory over Steve Austin. A clean pinfall victory over Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not too many people can say that they have that here in the GWA or outside of the GWA. We'll see what Steve Austin can do as he retained his championship opportunity with that singles victory against Raven, bringing an end to their long feud. See what Steve Austin can do when he capitalizes, or if he can capitalize on that championship opportunity this very evening, as he is set to face Mitsuharu Misawa in your main event for the GWA World title. And Hangman Adam Page just eats an even flow from Raven after fending off a last ride attempt from The Undertaker, and he barely gets out of that one. Powerbomb combination, this time with Raven at the helm. Ooh, just able to escape. Angle was not there in time. Almost lights out for the Hangman. Undertaker asking to be tagged in, perhaps to deliver the finishing blow here. As we finally pass the 10-minute mark. Must seem like an eternity for Hangman, at least in that previous sequence. Still the worse for wear is Page, as he's now sent out to the floor. Undertaker and Raven quick to swarm. Raven trying to distract Angle as Undertaker hits a choke slam to Page on the floor and grabs a baseball bat. If there's one person that doesn't need weaponry, it's The Undertaker. Though he's been known to take a few liberties with chair shots to the head if he didn't particularly like the person he was wrestling. As now Taker and Page are back in the ring, slugging it out here. Big clothesline absorbed by Page, dropping Taker with one of his own. Both men tagging out simultaneously from the sound of it. Now Raven and Angle are in the ring. Raven trash-talking Angle. I don't know if you want to do that. Raven started this matchup rather focused. I don't know if you want to get distracted. Kurt Angle only has one gear, and it is 5th. Straight ahead. Angle able to absorb that discus lariat and land a clothesline of his own. Big bulldog by Raven. Signature offense there from the leader of the Doldrums. This pairing between Raven and Undertaker does not indicate any association between the Undertaker and the Doldrums. As far as we know, is a one-night occurrence. Don't want to start any rapid speculation. Though I would think, should they prove to be a successful pairing, we might see it again in the future. Oh, nice suplex there by Hangman Adam Page, current reigning AEW World Champion in really real world, who, as we said at the last show, put on his big boy pants for a couple of title matches against Bryan Danielson recently. But I would hope, should any doubters still remain as to the legitimacy of Page as a world champion, I would have hoped those doubters would be silenced following that performance, as he is just on the receiving end of an old school from The Undertaker, followed by a vicious choke slam. 1, 2, 3. Angle thought about it and leisurely made his way across the ring. Thought twice about helping Hangman Adam Page, certainly didn't make it in time. And Hangman falling to The Undertaker 2 months in a row. Didn't quite hit the heights of their previous contest, but not too shabby nonetheless. Undertaker with an emphatic win over Hangman Adam Page, who might want to take a month off of challenging the dead man. Or he might find himself in the hospital. He was already pretty banged up going into the match. We'll see. Okay. Thus ends the first half of the show. And now we begin the second half of the show with our own Kenta Kobashi back in singles competition after finally losing the AEW tag team straps, facing Dylan James from All Japan Pro Wrestling. I have nothing else to say, but let's just friggin' see it. Let's just do it. 5 more matches to go, and we're going into some overtime on tonight's broadcast. That's what happens when we bring you a minor and a major event in the GWA Pantheon. A 7-match January card and this 10-match February Super Show in front of 65,000 plus. Our last show was in front of 45,000 strong. We're happy to sell out this football stadium to bring you this GWA event. Singles competition, Kenta Kobashi repping the GWA, Dylan James in the black and white trunks with the top knot and beard, representing All Japan Pro Wrestling. I believe Dylan James is from New Zealand or Australia, one of those two countries / continents if you're Australia. And there against the former GWA World Champion, looking to climb the singles ranks once again, Kenta Kobashi, back in front of an American audience, representing his own promotion, representing his own singles interests, sort of bogged down with a brief run as a tag team champion in AEW was Kenta. Now refocusing on himself and reclaiming the GWA World title. Looking to perhaps become the first to hold the GWA World title multiple times is Kenta Kobashi. We'll see how he does against our guest from All Japan. If it's a smooth transition back to the singles ranks for Kobashi, or if there are some bumps in the road. So far, so good. Sub 5 minutes. He's certainly getting the better of Dylan James, as far as I can tell to this point. Nice clover leaf there by Kobashi. Oh, just a back brain chop at the 5-minute mark. Where are you going? Drops the big leg also to the back of the head. Trying to knock Dylan James out here as Kobashi with these chops. Hang on! Burning hammer! Scoops him up and plants him, but Dylan James back to his feet to his credit. Surprised him with that burning hammer, and now just getting chopped back to the canvas by Kobashi, who's off the ropes and levels him with a clothesline. Excuse me, a burning lariat. Off the ropes again, another huge lariat. Oh, Dylan James able to counter that suplex. Yeah, surprised him with that burning hammer earlier. We don't normally see that out of Kenta Kobashi unless he knows it means certain victory. In this case, Dylan James somehow able to absorb, perhaps at the height of a spike of adrenaline, able to roll through that burning hammer and get back to his feet and keep fighting. Orange Crush on the floor by Kenta Kobashi. Once again, just chopping him down to size. You can see Dylan James gasping for breath when there's a pause in the action here. Plenty left in the tank of the former GWA champion, though, as Kenta Kobashi wails away. Oh, big choke! Oh my God! Dylan James chokes landing critical. Kobashi on the floor. What an upset! Oh, I smell the rematch. Oh, that was cool. Oh, that was cool as heck. That was neat. What an upset! Oh, still plus 80 though, still above 80. Wowzers. I'm gonna write down that that was a KO. Wow. Not the result I was expecting. Like, he could have lost. Sure, but I wasn't expecting Kenta Kobashi to be KO'd. Setting up a potential rematch. We got to get Dylan James back when Kenta Kobashi's feeling better after that critical choke slam. Very interesting development. All right. We got to keep rolling forward, though. We have the last non-title match of the evening. We have tag team competition as the Street Profits are back in action. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford are here to take on the Junior Achievers. Dragon Rojo Jr., former GWA Junior Champion, and El Tejano Jr., collectively known as the Junior Achievers. They were the first GWA Tag Team Champs. Street Profits, likewise, I believe, were the third GWA Tag Team Champs. A battle of former champions here, and more all-important positioning amongst the tag team rankings. Starting imminently. As always, Mr. Bigfoot here to call for the bell, and we are underway. 3 big title matches to follow this, as our big February show is slowly drawing to a conclusion. Fans still aghast at the result of the last matchup. Dylan James with a choke slam on the floor to Kenta Kobashi, criticaling the former GWA World Champion. We're going to get an update on Kenta Kobashi's condition at the conclusion of this event. We're going to get that information out to you as soon as we have it. Currently being evaluated by our medical staff. We'll let you know if they have to make their way to a medical facility afterwards. Certainly, if they inform me, of course, I'll let you know. But we will definitely have an update at the conclusion of the show. Not the start to the resurgence of the singles career of Kenta Kobashi that he was looking for. Humbled by being knocked out at the hands of Dylan James and that chokeslam. And to that point, it had seemed that Kenta Kobashi had things well in hand in the opening, not even 10 minutes of the show, or excuse me, of the contest. And then out of nowhere, seemingly. Hey, White Rabbit Object, nice to see you. Happy New Year to you as well. Hope you're having a good one. This is the second of 2 events that we are broadcasting, and the final non-title contest of the evening. We got 3 big title matches coming up after this, so glad to have you with us. As El Tejano Jr. now reverses Montez Ford into the corner, as we have the Junior Achievers in the red corner, against the Street Profits in the blue corner. Don't be confused by the fact that the Street Profits are wearing red. They're in the blue corner in this match, as Dragon Rojo Jr. is now in. With the Junior Achievers, both he and El Tejano also proud members of Shawn Michaels' Heartbreaker stable. As Montez Ford tags into the power man of the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins at the 5-minute mark against the relatively diminutive Dragon Rojo Jr., former junior heavyweight champion in the GWA. As we said at the top of the match here, both of these teams former tag team champions here in this league. In fact, the Junior Achievers were the initial champions, winning a one-night tournament for the honor. They were unseated by the Yard Dogs, Convict Bill Bullock and Big Dave Mastiff, who were excluded from the one-night tag team tournament because Bill Bullock was dealing with an injury at the time. But in an early defense for the Junior Achievers, they fell to the Yard Dogs, who held the belts for quite a while before they themselves were unseated by the Street Profits. The Street Profits have since lost the titles to Yuji Hino and Ray Phoenix of the Doldrums, and we're going to see them in action later tonight as they take on the #1 contenders Jon Moxley and Randy Orton, who won the right for the title match at last month's event, defeating Mad Polly and Buddy Murphy, the Mad Buds. So that is our tag team title match coming up, I think 2 matches from now. Following this contest, we have a Hall of Fame championship match for you. William Regal will be defending the belt against Bret the Hitman Hart. And then, of course, the tag team title match that we mentioned will be following that. And then our big main event, Mitsuharu Misawa is going to be putting the GWA World Championship on the line against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Quite a style clash in that one. The world-class brawler, the bionic redneck, Stone Cold Steve Austin, against one of the most prolific elbow smashers, elbow strikers to ever come out of the Japanese wrestling dojos in a Mitsuharu Misawa. Might even reach way back into the playbook for some of his tiger mask tricks. Certainly a more varied and well-rounded approach to the sport of professional wrestling out of Mitsuharu Misawa than the straight-ahead, go, punch you till you fall down approach of Stone Cold. We'll see which one prevails. Yet to come in our main event. Big frog splash on Dragon Rojo Jr. Able to fight his way free. Now waiting for Dawkins to stand. Diving body press, but too close to the ropes there, unable to get a proper pin attempt. Eats a spine buster for his troubles. Oh, El Tejano saving the matchup and then leveling Montez Ford with the power of the punch. Big double powerbomb by the Junior Achievers into a cover. Dawkins just escaped. You saw Dragon Rojo Jr. running across the ring there to play defense as Montez Ford was approaching. Now Dawkins able to buy some time and get Montez Ford tagged back in. Ford against El Tejano Jr. now. Ford in the long red and white. El Tejano Jr. in the black and gold trunks. Oh! Tornado Tejas by El Tejano Jr. Oh, and somehow Montez Ford kicks out. Taking Dragon Rojo Jr. back into the contest once more. Nice double team powerbomb coming their way. I think Dragon Rojo Jr. was going for that single leg crab, but Montez Ford able to fend him off. Montez signaling to the crowd that this is it. But Dragon Rojo Jr. immediately countering and hitting a 619. Oh, sneaky tag there by Montez and Dawkins. Nicely done. As the big man of the Street Profits in there now against the smaller member of the Junior Achievers. The most junior of achievers is Dragon Rojo. On the receiving end of a big slam from Angelo Dawkins. Giving Dragon Rojo Jr. all the smoke. Oh, sit out powerbomb! Ford breaks it up. Super kick under the chin. Angelo Dawkins pulls him back to his feet before attempting the tag, potentially to lure him into the red corner. Oh, another critical! El Tejano Jr. mashed into the canvas with a vicious spine buster. Must be something in the water. My word. Dawkins splattering El Tejano Jr. onto the canvas with that one. How'd they do? 88. All right, I'll take it. Wowzers. 2 criticals in a row. I'm making note of that. Boink. Okay. Ooh, boy, oh boy. Another one that went a lot quicker than I was anticipating because somebody got knocked out. They're all set to low. I didn't turn criticals off, but I have them set to low. Haven't seen a few in a while, but I'm not really too fussy because that just brings us to our trio of main events, starting with that Hall of Fame Championship matchup we earlier described. William Regal, Bret Hart for the Hall of Fame Championship, currently held by William Regal, who won it from Kenny Omega in the 5th year of competition here in the GWA. Let's get down for our first of 3 title fights. Bret Hart, William Regal. The recent free agent, William Regal. Any company. And, again, this is all assuming that he wants anything to do with the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Like, unless he's just happy to be retired. But any company could would benefit from having him even just in the backstage in catering, casually talking to your employees. They would get better at wrestling. Just if you picked his brain for 20 minutes. That's all I'm saying. If certain people have issues with the quote-unquote legitimacy of certain Wednesday night promotions, I can think of no one better to have backstage to try to smarten / toughen / tighten your work up than a William Regal, who has never had the most impressive physique or any of that, but has had a 30-year plus career based on his style of work, which is incredibly gritty and realistic, and always has been top-notch. I mean, obviously, if you're not a fan of the style, I can see how it's not your cup of tea, pun intended, but fairly universally recognized as pretty great at what he does. See how he holds out against the self-proclaimed, and I have to put in that caveat, best there is, best there was, and best there ever will be in Bret the Hitman Hart, looking to claim his first piece of gold here in the GWA in the Hall of Fame Championship, trying to wrest that belt away from champion William Regal. The first of 3 title fights are going to cap off our big February fight here. Matches 8, 9, and 10 of a 10-match card. Nicely done there by the Hitman. You can see a lot of counter wrestling in this one, I would imagine. Hitman working the back and then splicing with a DDT. William Regal has a number of offensive weapons. The power of the punch, the Regal cutter, the Regal plex that he bridges with for a pin, and of course the Regal stretch. Bret Hart known primarily for the sharpshooter, but can also put his opponents away with a pretty effective pile driver variation that is used. There's the Regal plex on the floor, so he can't hold the bridge for a pin attempt. But you can see how it's a scoop backdrop suplex where you actually are able to clasp your hands around your opponent before launching them backwards. William Regal going to work on the floor here. No countouts or disqualifications outside of a GWA ring. Got to finish your fights inside. 3 counter tap out. Only way to win, especially with gold on the line. As William Regal is happy to send Bret Hart into the guardrail. Bret wisely pulling the fight back into the ring where it belongs. Nice combination of uppercuts there by the Hitman. Into the figure 4. Just try to slow things down. Weaken the legs of Regal. Perhaps set up a future sharpshooter attempt. Hitman loves to dictate the pace. More methodical style than most, but you certainly have to admire the technical prowess of both of these gentlemen. Nice suplex there by the Hitman, sending Regal to the floor. Let's see if Bret follows up, and he does.
10 minutes gone.
Spikes him with a DDT at the 10-minute mark. Your first major championship match of the evening. We already saw a successful, rather one-sided, if I may say so, WWE Championship defense as Bobby Lashley was here to face Kevin Owens. As we are now apparently trying to get the WWE their championship back, as Bobby Lashley is a free agent. So add him to our list of wayward champions. Trying to return all the belts to their respective promotions. The only reason we have a couple extra belts is because the promotions they belong to don't exist anymore. So we have sort of taken over property of them. Huge exploder suplex on the floor by Regal. Follows it up with a release German to the chair. Rolls back in to perhaps finish the job, but Bret Hart with that bulldog, at least momentarily, turning things back into his favor. Now it's a battle of the European uppercuts. I dare say Regal's are a tad more authentic. But Bret able to win the argument with a drop kick. Misses a second. Nice butterfly suplex by Regal. Exploder this time. Just choking away at Bret. Could get DQ'd if the ref hits 5. Breaks at 4. Bret into the Russian leg sweep. Nice suplex counter there by Regal, sending Hart down. Champion looking to put away challenger. Nice roll up by Bret in response. 2. Regal escapes. Regal taking his time to catch his breath. Nice backbreaker there by the Hitman, one of the 5 moves of doom. Now a drop kick to the lower back of Regal. Oh, and he immediately locks on the Regal stretch, and that is it! Out of nowhere, William Regal has had enough. Slaps on the Regal stretch, and Bret Hart taps immediately. A successful defense of the Hall of Fame Championship for William Regal. Let me check this here. 95, really? Again, one that personally, I didn't feel like that got out of like 3rd gear. Like I would have put that. Oh, hang on. I'll put that. Hang on. I would have put that in like the low to mid 80s, but 95. Wow. Must have been the prestige of the title, etc., etc. We did our best to hype it. So on and so forth. Speaking of hyping things and things that need hyping, and title matches and whatnots, and transitions, we have another, all that to say, we have another couple title matches for you. Starting with the tag title match, as we said, Randy Orton and Jon Moxley defeated the Mad Buds at our last show to earn this #1 contendership spot. So they are going to be facing Yuji Hino and the returning from injury Rey Fenix for the GWA Tag Team Championships. Rey Fenix and Yuji Hino representing the Doldrums. Randy Orton and Jon Moxley representing themselves. So we have this and the main event to go, and then we'll do a quick look at the friends that we sent to various promotions and how that went, and then we'll do our normal, system maintenance where we do our repairs to our developmental stuff. check how the merchandise sales were, see if anybody wants a raise, and then we'll skedoodle out of here. Probably about half an hour later than the normal broadcast. But that's okay, I don't mind going later on the wrestling nights. This is my jam. As Randy Orton looking to jam the championship fortunes of a Yuji Hino with a abruptly applied RKO that could come out of nowhere at any point during this matchup. Has a number of varieties of ways he can apply that hold, can capture you in that hold, can spike your chin into the canvas. Boom! You see a variation, almost 3D style. Moxley applying the cutter in that one. As Mox and Ray Phoenix are your legal fighters. Get well soon, Ray Phoenix. Get well soon, Jon Moxley, for that matter. A real scary moment for Ray Phoenix at the Live Dynamite just last evening. Took a table bump in such a manner that somehow bent his arm the wrong way at the elbow, leading some to speculate that he had a rather nasty arm break. Happily reported today that no bones were broken, so not fully confirmed that it was a devastating elbow dislocation, because I don't think they have a full a diagnosis. I don't think they've come public with it yet. But good news that it wasn't as devastating as it looked like. Certainly it's going to require some recovery time, but it could have been a lot worse, could have required surgery. Might still, for all we know, but not as grievous an injury as initially feared, and that's at least good news to start with. That's something to build off of, much like Orton's looking to build off that double powerbomb on Ray Phoenix. But Phoenix stuffs him immediately with a DDT. The ever-resourceful tag team champion, Ray Phoenix. Incredibly difficult to put down. As you see he and Hino sending Orton to the floor. Moxley biding his time. Eventually joining the fight after Orton's the victim of a powerbomb, and then for his efforts, Moxley getting a heck of a combination from Phoenix, who in turn eats an RKO from Orton. What a sequence. Orton with the ever-devastating headlock on the floor until Yuji Hino able to shove him off. Orton likes to get real close and snuggly and then smear his baby oil all over you in all these headlocks and face locks. Okay, there were a couple of tags in there. I wasn't fully paying attention. Oh, spike with the Rikishi driver. Let's call it that. By Ray Phoenix. Randy Orton able to counter into, guess what, a headlock. Oh, nice backdrop suplex there by Hino, trying to keep Moxley at bay for the moment. As the champions repeatedly sending Randy Orton to the floor, it seems to be the strategy. This time, breaking their efforts into two singles matches, Hino and Moxley, Phoenix and Orton. Oh, neck breaker under the chair by Orton to Phoenix. And then a backcracker on the floor there. Hino again keeping Moxley at bay, and here comes the effing bomb from Hino! Planting Moxley into the canvas. Blocks a paradigm shift attempt. Meanwhile on the floor, Randy Orton going low on Ray Phoenix. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. Now Yuji Hino tastes the paradigm shift. Big exploder by Orton on the floor. Rolls back inside, and another effing bomb coming Moxley's way unless Orton can stop him. Just stands there and watches it happen. Hino and Orton legal. Moxley collects himself and scrambles back to the apron. I don't know if Orton is necessarily aware of the damage done to Moxley while he was outside the ring. Double team coming up. Dodged by Phoenix. Phoenix and Moxley legal now. Moxley with that huge discus lariat. Absorbed by Phoenix. Hits that super kick. Moxley chopping away at the face of Phoenix with those. Nice counter. The more you can see the more brawling style of Moxley coming into play. Oh! The haphazard style, let's say, as he releases that suplex. Oh, and another one to Phoenix. Phoenix able to reply with a tilt-a-whirl head scissor. Head scissor sending him to the floor, and then a dive. Holy moly, the height that Phoenix got on that. Follows it up with a huge super kick to Orton. Champions roll, and Ray Phoenix looking great in his first match back from injury. First tag team title defense in a little while for your current champions. Nice powerbomb there by Hino to Moxley on the floor. All four fighters out here. No countouts, no DQs. No way in hell is Moxley getting up after that, that destroyer onto the chair. Meanwhile, Orton's tossing Hino around with exploders. The action hot and heavy as we approach 20 minutes in this one. Moxley now returning to the sanctity of the center of the ring to catch his breath. Phoenix follows him in. These are your two legal fighters, so things are settling down. Phoenix counters the suplex that time. Assisted powerbomb. Hino into the cover. 1, 2. Moxley out at 2. Butterfly suplex by Mox that time. Couldn't quite get the paradigm shift off, but able to tag in Randy Orton, who you know is going to want to hit an RKO out of nowhere. Sooner the better. Possibly in bunches. Hang on. Effing bomb coming up to Orton. Plants him. Into the cover. 1, 2 it. Oh, Moxley breaks it up just before the 2 count. Powerbombs Phoenix for his troubles. Orton able to bowl Yuji Hino over, signaling to the crowd that this is it. Immediately eats another effing bomb from Yuji Hino. Mox breaks it up, barely at the count of 1 this time. As we just crest past 20 minutes in this GWA Tag Team Championship contest. Huge exploder by Hino. Buys him some time to tag Ray back in. Ray and Orton going at it. Big super kick by Phoenix leads to a cover. Moxley breaks it up at 2. Orton setting up. Elects to back off. Gets thrown into the corner. Does Randy Orton. Oh, then Phoenix misses wildly with that 630 splash attempt. Sort of a Phoenix splash. Didn't work no matter what you call it. Oh, and then Moxley almost puts him away. Tiger driver. 1, 2. Moxley escapes. Each pinfall's getting closer for both squad here. Double arm suplex, once again, not quite a paradigm shift. Randy Orton holding Phoenix for partner Jon Moxley. Some fast chemistry forming between these two. A relatively new tag team. Able to win that #1 contenders match against the Mad Buds. Trying to make the most of their opportunity here. Mox is waiting for Phoenix to stand. Big shoulder tackle off the ropes. From the Wild Thing, Jon Moxley, who tags Orton back in. Phoenix unaware. Oh! What work by Phoenix to hit a cutter on Moxley and then avoid the RKO from Orton. Yuji Hino to the top of the frog splash. 2! No! Orton escapes. Moxley planted with a Rikishi driver. All 4 gentlemen involved in the action, whether they're legal or not. Orton sent to the floor. Moxley's in the ring, gets thrown face first into Phoenix. So Yuji Hino can drop an elbow off the ropes. Inadvertent tag team work there by the champs. Oh, Orton reverses into the dreaded headlock. Destroyer on Moxley. Hino able to fight his way free, sending Orton to the floor. Wrong part of town though for Hino. Moxley lying in wait. Nice snap suplex by the champion Yuji Hino. Ray Phoenix trying to make short work of Randy Orton. Nice double team now to Moxley by the champs. We're headed toward 30 minutes in this one. No DQ, no countout on the floor. The only way to win is to get your opponent inside for a pinfall or a tap out. 3 counter tap out, the only way to win. Or critical, as we've seen in the last 2 matchups. We await the legal fighter's return. It's the only way this match can go. Orton grabbing a chunk of table from underneath the ring. Oh, as Moxley eats another vicious powerbomb. Tiger driver to Orton, but one of these 2 gentlemen isn't legal. So it's all for naught. Hino back inside. Looks like Hino and Orton are your fighters. Quick tag back out to Moxley. All 4 of these guys got to be worn down by now as we're heading toward 30 minutes here. And there it is. What a tag team title match we have for you. And this is only the semi-main. Still to come for the GWA World Championship. Mitsuharu Misawa putting the belt on the line against Stone Cold Steve Austin. At the conclusion of this tag team title match, another butterfly suplex by Moxley. Can't quite hit this paradigm shift. Close but no cigar for the challenger to this point. Tiger driver incoming, nails it. 1, 2. Mox out at 2. Now he hits the paradigm shift on Phoenix. Everybody's down. Into the cover, but Hino tags up and is able to thwart the pin attempt at 1. Phoenix off the ropes. Orton preoccupied with that face lock on Hino. Back to the butterfly for Moxley. Whatever he can do to buy himself some time. Tags Orton back into the match. I hesitate to call them a fresh competitor at this point. Rikishi driver by Phoenix. 2. Got him. Ray Phoenix spikes Randy Orton with the Rikishi driver. And the champions retain. That was impressive. Good stuff. Spiked him. Ray Phoenix. Oh, I keep doing this wrong. There we go. Okay. Ooh, another 5-star. Yes. 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 Hang on. According to my calculations, why did it go back to 0? According to this, I'm not currently streaming, but then on the Twitch app I'm streaming. It's all recording. That's all I got. Again, it goes back to drop frame 0, and then my kilobytes go from nothing to perfectly fine. Now watch it reset again. I'm just going to wait here for a couple seconds to see what happens. I don't know how long I was down either. Okay, there. Hang on. It's got to reset the fact that I wasn't broadcasting. I'll wait till I can see the duration thing pop up. Apologies to those that are watching like the One Piece VOD on YouTube. It seems to be a Twitch issue. A Twitch issue. Come on. There we go. Okay, now I have reestablished that I am once again streaming on Twitch. Hello, everybody. My apologies. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But we had ourselves a 5-star classic. Ray Phoenix able to retain. Putting down Randy Orton after that Fire Thunder driver. I call it the Rikishi driver, but sure, Fire Thunder driver. And it is now time for the main event. I waited till we were back online here as best I could. To that very main event. Okay. Steve Austin, Mitsuharu Misawa, the GWA Championship. Let's get down to the ring. Now I'm just trying to get this over with before the stop streaming again, I guess. So here we go. Boink. And then, hoo-ya! This is the big one, everybody, for the GWA World title. Mitsuharu Misawa in the green and white against Stone Cold Steve Austin in the black trunks. This one's for all the marbles, for the most prestigious title in the wrestling landscape, the GWA World Heavyweight Championship. We only had 4 champions in our company's history. Steve Austin looking to become the 5th. Mitsuharu Misawa looking to remain the 4th. Let's see which one of these two gentlemen goes forth into our 6th year as your GWA World Champion. Bit of sportsmanship shown there by Misawa. As he saw Austin was dumped to the floor, Misawa retreating to the center of the ring to allow his challenger Austin to return. As we mentioned earlier, a bit of a styles clash between these two gentlemen. Austin known as a world-class brawler. A drunken ass kicker, if you will. Meanwhile, Mitsuharu Misawa, their elbow is God. So they have potent striking power behind those elbows. Also a gaggle of tricks over a many decade-long career that they can draw upon. Not the least of which was their tenure as Tiger Mask in their early career. So a lot of tricks in the bag of Mitsuharu Misawa. See if he can withstand the full frontal onslaught of the brawling style of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who in and of himself used to be something of a technician, but time and injury unfortunately erased that aspect of their game, and they honed their brawling to the Hall of Fame worthy career that they left in their wake as they ran roughshod over the WWE during their time there. Stomping a mud hole in the current GWA champion is Stone Cold, getting out the victory trumpet, perhaps a little early, as there are only 5 minutes gone in this one. Senior official Mr. Bigfoot staying out of sight but not out of mind, as he always keeps his peepers peeled for any wrongdoings here in the GWA. Big elbow in the corner. You see a lot of elbow strikes from Misawa. It's his bread and butter. I wouldn't be surprised if he buttered his toast with his elbow. Strike after strike. In combination from your reigning GWA champion. Austin looking to throw hands in response. Misawa stops off the ropes. Dazed there by a shot by Austin. Nice combination of elbow strikes into one to the back of the head by Misawa, trying to knock Austin out. As we approach the 10-minute mark, nice spin kick by the big man into the bullfrog splash. Too close to the ropes, however. Austin, it should be noted, also utilizes this Austin Crab as a finish. Certainly has been earning victories with it lately. See the first application of it in this title fight. Known for the Stone Cold Stunner, but also has that, as we said, the Austin Crab. Can also put on a variant of the $1 Million Dream if pressed. As we said, Misawa, many weapons in his arsenal. He could knock you out with an elbow strike. He can put you down with an Emerald Frozen. Nicely done. Pinpoint elbow drop to the mommy daddy button of Mitsuharu Misawa there. Misawa's always got he's got elbow strikes, he's got the Emerald Frozen, a variation of a Tiger Driver. the seated step over front face lock that I've seen him tap out Jumbo Tsuruta with. A number of potent offensive weaponry. Good to see Austin keeping things simple. Just flailing his limbs at his opponent. Oh! Misawa goes for more accuracy in his strikes. Austin's just going to hit you as hard as he can, as often as he can. Nice! Throwing German, hang on! Oh, Misawa absorbs it and hits one of his own! Austin back to his feet first, though. Impressive resilience from both men there. In this, your main event for the GWA Championship. Misawa defending against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin telling him what he thinks of him. Misawa may have been thinking elbow Frozen there. Austin floats over, hits a nice back brain lariat. Enzui Lariato. And now into the $1 million dream for Austin. Going deep into the playbook is the Rattlesnake. Might even see a stun gun. Oh, the mule kick counter out of Misawa. Austin grabs a chair, but he gets tiger driven upon it. Into an elbow combination from Misawa. Champion rocking and rolling now. A flurry of elbow strikes. Somehow Stone Cold is still conscious. And fighting. Oh, big tiger suplex on the floor. No pins though, so Misawa's got to break it. Throws Austin back in the ring, looking to finish him off. Austin's not going down without a fight. Nice counter by Misawa. Setting him up for the half and half into a bridge, but he's too close to the ropes. Holy, haven't seen that out of Misawa in any of his championship matches to this point. Austin lucky to escape with that rope break. Stunner, center of the ring. Austin into the cover. 1, 2, 3. Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold is champ. Ho ho! Ho ho! Ho 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 ho! Out of nowhere! Mitsuharu Misawa seemingly had things well in hand, and then kick, wham, stunner. And it's over. And we have a new champ. Here we go. Bam! New champion crowned. Heck of an event. 91% overall. 2 5-star or 100% matches. 65,000 plus were in the arena. Let's see how we did. Yep, Austin's the new GWA champion. That's the biggest thing that happened. 75,000 people were there. Okay, that did great. We have new trios champs in the WWE. Saban is the Impact Junior champ. That's cool. G-Raver is the GCW champ. Oh, it must have been a tournament for the GCW championship. Okay. Still almost made $2 million, and we should be able to afford. AEW's got a single tourney. Okay. Should be able to afford a gym upgrade next month and still have 20 million in the bank. So that's my plan. Neidhart. I don't know if that's Jim or Natty. Okay. We just gave him a title fight and he quit the promotion. So even if he'd won, he would have quit. Wowzers. All right, so we're getting a little more press in Mexico. Caden Carter wants to come back in from NXT. I mean, sure, it's a minor show, so let's do Caden Carter in from NXT. I'm just making notes of this stuff quickly so I can it'll help me book next week. Sure, Come on in. Okay, first things first, save. And then let's do all of our maintenance. I like to get this done immediately so I don't forget. Oops. Okay. Boo-ba-doo-ba-doo. A boo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Okay, now normally I would do the lowest two, like the 171, and I would pick one of these, I guess. But I'm gonna go with the big one. We are doing a gym expansion, and we're gonna see what that leads to next week. Gym improved to level 8. I don't know. Oh, all right. So our expenses, we're gonna be pretty close. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just trying to be above 20 million when we're done. All right. So merchandise, how'd we do? Wowzers. Wowzers. So we blew out of most of the stuff. I'm okay. 3's pretty long, but I feel like we can get rid of that next month. Okay, everything else we're gonna make. All our our broadcast contracts are still fine. Let's go to records and do personal advice so we can do the raises first. CM Punk wants more money. I don't even know what they did with CM Punk. He obviously didn't defend his belt because they would have told us, or maybe he did successfully defend it. Consultation. CM Punk. Nope, still got it. Tiniest raise we can give you. Personal advice, trust. Buddy Murphy wants more money. This is all the fun maintenance that I like to do. Gotta get it done. Personal advice. Becky Lynch wants more money. I just need to see the name, really. Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch. Change salary. There you go. Personal advice. Bret Hart wants more money? Sure. Oh, I should probably save it. Consultation. Bret Hart's down here. Welcome to the 5-Figure Club. Personal advice. Okada wants more money. Sure. You got it. More personal advice. Dave Mastiff wants more money. And there's a lot of them this time. Oh, well, you're making a pittance, so sure. Okay, save that after a couple more. How we doing? You sure? There. Those are all the salary issues for now. Let's check promotion stats. 45. I can hire 7 more people. Okay. Let's need to make a note of that real quick. 38 out of 45 now. Okay, so I need to think on that. So we're expanding our roster. That's 7 more people. So I can do, if I did 3 more juniors, that would put us up to 16. We'll see. We'll see. Because I can do 7, right? I can do 2 more juniors to put us to 15, and then 5 more heavyweights, and that would put us at 30 and 15. Twice as many heavies as juniors. But I don't know. You can't do anything deeper than an 8-person tournament. Is the not a problem, but it's. I would love to do one night 16 team. Anyway, all right, let's go. Or 16-person, 16 team, whatever. That was the result of our major event. Let me put up my notepad to show you that we have a couple of things to check out. So there's the notes that I made on the event as it happened. We just have to check out the Big Japan and CMLL shows because we did send them CM Punk, Flamita, and Keiji Muto respectively. So let me get this off screen and get over to Big Japan and CMLL to see what that is to see. Let's do Big Japan first. What did you guys use CM Punk this time? You did. Tatsuhiko Yoshino in a one-on-one matchup with Punk that Punk won, and it was trash. Okay. They then used Sekimoto in a singles match later in the show. Hogan must be hurt or something. They're not even using him. Oops. And then CMLL was the only other one. See if they used our people properly. And unless they were on some of these teams that I can't see who is involved, The answer is no. They didn't even use them. We sent you, who did I say? I think Flamita? Flamita and Keiji Muto. And it looks like you used neither of them. Okay, well, that's on you. It still counts as us being friendly. Okay, that's done. Do I have to do some scouting first? Okay, so Lucha, Latin America, 6 months. Away you go. Could be anything. Strong Style America, 6 months. Away you go. Just making sure I got all my I's dotted and T's crossed before I do anything else. Okay, so I have to add the legendary junior belt to our pantheon of belts, so on and so forth. I'm starting to understand, or I guess I'm still not really understanding. It'll tell me that I have a certain number of drop frames, or at least I saw it this one time that it told me I had a certain number of drop frames when I had like literally no internet whatsoever, which doesn't make any sense to me because I'm plugged into the internet and all of my internet elsewhere remains. Like it's literally something to do with the connection to Twitch itself, because everything else about everything I'm doing stayed perfectly fine. Anyway, that's something to, I guess, look into off air. Okay, let's go ahead and get myself hiya! Front and center! There we go. So I can thank everybody for watching, no matter where or when you happen to be. Wishing everybody out there chill vibes and clear skies. And if you find yourself in possession of a plethora of positive energy, please share it if you can spare it. And don't forget about your old pal, the Silent G, Rad Gnarly, saying so long for now on this extra long edition of our GWA exploits. We're here each and every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, usually ending at 10. This time we're, almost an hour late. We're going to be back on the air tomorrow. That's Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time with the usual gang of playmates as we look to survive in 7 days to die. Until then, we're still playing Alpha 19, by the way. I don't know when or if there's a definite consensus on us moving up to Alpha 20. I'm trying to entice the gang to eventually make the leap, but so far we're still holding strong on Alpha 19 since we're pretty close to endgame, in so much as there is an endgame in 7 days to die, in that we've unlocked most of our equipment and so on and so forth. Anywho, that's neither here nor there until you're with us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's go find somebody to spread a little love to on our way out of here. See all that vamping, and I was able to successfully get my stream deck loaded properly. There we go, Vert's doing some stuff. Let's go say hi to Vert. All right, thanks very much for hanging, everybody. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night. If not, thanks for spending the time with me you did. Ta-ta.